Are we live?
We're live. Let's rock.
Are we on the air?
Yeah, we're live and on the air. Everything. Let's go. Let's freaking go.
Okay. Well, in that case, ladies and gentlemen, what's good, y'all? It's the Showmeister Chris Gary. It's Aisha of the City Life Project. And it's J Wolf. And you're tuned into a very special streaming edition of Focus Fights Audio. Video and audio version, by the way. As we, well, let's just say we enjoyed what we saw out of RIZIN Landmark 11 in Sapporo this past weekend, right?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, it was a sick show.
I mean, yeah, it was a sick show because of the fact that when it came down to it, yeah, there was 19 fights on the card, but
Which is awesome. Only a 7.5 hour runtime, exactly the same as a typical UFC that has only 14 bouts. So, and that was with including the prelims where they had like a 40-minute break.
I will say though, I am sick of the double intermission, man. And J Wolf, we said it on the podcast, we said it on the City Life Project. I was like, why are they starting so early if there's only 4 fights on the prelim? Then they took an hour break between the prelims and the main card.
Yeah.
And then and then there was no opening ceremony, and I was like,
I know we were post opening ceremony.
and then we had another intermission, which wasn't 10 minutes long. So I will say this. I enjoyed every fight. Well, pretty much every fight. I enjoyed the whole event. But, like, it could have been 6 hours. They dragged it on for 7.5. And it's like, guys, come on. Why did you start the prelims an hour later? Because 3 kickboxing fights and 1 2-round MMA fight ain't going to be 2 hours long in RIZIN. I'll tell you that much.
It's because there was finishes on the prelims.
No, stop defending them. They were 2-round MMA fights and 3 3-minute round kickboxing. J-Wolf, even if they went the distance and gave him a 5-minute speech after, it wouldn't have been 2 hours. And you and I said it. We said it on the podcast. I'm like, J-Wolf, why is there so much time between? Oh, it was 8 hours. Well, it wasn't like 7.5. I streamed the whole thing.
It was exactly 7.5. It started at 8:30 p.m. Pacific time and ended at 4 a.m.
Yeah, I streamed. I was live the whole time on YouTube on my channel, so I know.
Yeah.
I went to bed at 7:30 a.m.
and the prelims, they had 4 prelims and 3 finishes.
I was saying they had 4 prelims. I thought it was 5.
No, they had 4.
Yeah, they had 4, and then there was like a 45 minute like unofficial intermission between the final prelim and the
That's what I'm riffing on. That's what I'm saying. We called it because I was like, man, this is like the prelims started so early and the main card started 2 hours later. So I was like, what the heck?
And then the opening ceremony, it was only aired on the Japanese YouTube stream, the Japanese official RIZIN.
Yeah, that's always what they do though. That's always what they do.
But
and then they bait and switch.
Sakakibara was in the ring or was in the cage talking and saying stuff. And then on the RIZIN English, the RIZIN.TV stream, it was Chevello and Brown doing a breakdown of the card instead of translating what Sakakibara-san was saying. So it totally missed the opening ceremony.
Yeah, well, I mean, Lene Hart said there wasn't like that much of really an opening ceremony because the landmark shows, they just don't usually. They get like right into it. I thought since this one was just like a little bit bigger, they would, but
yeah, me too.
Come to think of it, the last time there was an opening ceremony for any landmark show, and I think I can attest to this, it was at RIZIN Landmark 7 in Azerbaijan almost a year and a half ago.
Wasn't there like a halftime show? There was like some dancing or some like theatric Cirque du Soleil type performance.
Yes, there was.
Like a rap song, or there was like I forget who it was.
There was like ladies though, or I don't even know if they were dancers, just like hanging from like the ceiling and stuff. Do you remember?
Yeah, but still though, there was also an opening ceremony before that particular card began, and I think that was the last time that RIZIN had an opening ceremony for Landmark.
Because there wasn't one at the World Series Korea event, right?
No, there was not.
Yeah. So this one was just Sakakibara-san going in the ring, saying some stuff, welcoming people in. Didn't bring out the fighters, like did Otoko Matsuri, which was like the pinnacle of opening ceremonies. That was like Almighty Pride FC nostalgia overload right there. That was sensational. So, but we were still on the fight order graphic. it said there was supposed to be an opening ceremony, so we expected something a little bit more than what we got. That's why we're riffing on it right now about that. But it was still the runtime was perfect. I mean, if it wasn't for the prelims, that would only been a 6-hour show for 15 bouts, 6 hours. So that would have beaten UFC 14 bout shows by an hour and a half.
Really?
Oh yeah. Yeah, UFCs are 14. The 14 bout UFC cards, a typical UFC card, goes about 7.5 hours, and that's with finishes and everything. Unless if it goes, well, there's a bunch of finishes, it can go 8 hours long for a typical UFC card. So the Epic Ryzen equal the UFC card to 7.5 hours, including the prelims. Without including the prelims, starting at 10 p.m. Pacific, going to 4 a.m. Pacific, that's 6 hours. So it was that beats the UFC by an hour and a half with an extra bout on top of that for the main card. So pretty good. I just want to give them kudos for their fantastic lightning fast pacing, because you could barely get a tweet out in between fights. It was so quick. And the intermission, like Aisha was saying, was only 10 minutes instead of 20 minutes. So
no, that was the Korea show. This one was 20 minutes. The Korea show was 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. This one was 20 minutes?
I
okay.
ain't bending over for their timing on this show like J Wolf, guys. I thought this one was dumb the way that they did it. I am complete opposite end. But I will say, for 15 fights, like I wasn't, put it this way, I wasn't complaining at the end of the night being, oh, I'm so tired. It's like, no, I know when you watch a RIZIN event, you're giving up your whole night. So I just accept that you're going to be tired. So I wasn't complaining. Whether it would have been a 10-minute intermission at the end or 20, that's fine. Like I said, I was just critical because we called it. I was like, this is just dumb. Why did they do four fights for 2 hours? That makes no sense. But
anyways. No, that was pretty annoying that they had like a 45-minute intermission in between.
Yeah.
And Cooper 12 said everyone, including the Japanese,
there you go,
about the runtime and the length.
Okay, well, do they complain when the UFC is on? Because the UFC is even worse. So I don't get that. I think the only problem
if you're on Pacific time, brother, you're never going to get it. You got it too easy.
Well, no, actually he doesn't, because the people who get it the easiest are the Hawaiians.
Yeah. No, but it's pretty chill here, especially if you can get in the only problem is this was on a Friday, so I couldn't get in a pre-power nap.
Yeah. You have nothing to complain about because of the fact that it started at 8:30 where you were.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, the Hawaiians get it easier when it comes down to fight cards, and they start at like around 6:30.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
Yeah.
I had 3 hours of sleep in 48 hours this weekend. That's how many fights I watched.
You're the hardest of the hardcore, brother.
So my Monday was, God, it was bad. I was out of it.
Cooper 12 actually says the UFC is on at nighttime in Japan.
Actually, yeah, it's not a good. I mean, especially fight nights. It's a good time.
Yeah, I think they still run on Wow. I think.
Yeah, because it'd be like it'd start in the early morning in Japan for UFC, something like 6 a.m. or something crazy like that, right? Because 8 p.m. is 12 noon. 8 p.m. Pacific is 12 noon in Japan time. So if the UFC main card starts at 7 p.m. Pacific, then that would be 11 a.m. in Japan time. So
which is no complaints.
Basically, they have breakfast with UFC basically. So it's not. But still, I mean, if they cannot be complaining about the runtime and length of this card and then sit there and fawn over the UFC. No freaking way. No way, dude. This card was fantastic. I loved it. 15 plus bouts, 15 mixed martial arts bouts, superior rule set mixed martial arts bouts. And it was done in 6 hours for the main card, 7.5 hour runtime total. Just incredible. Great job, you guys. Loved it. Keep those 15 plus bout cards rolling. That'll get my subscription.
Jay, here's the thing, though. When it comes down to RIZIN Landmark 11, there were 12 fights that we obviously gave more of a damn about more than anything else, and there were 5 finishes on the card. Before we get to the meat and potatoes of it all, I mean, I just want to ask, what were your thoughts about the fact that we only had so few finishes among the 12 fights that we actually gave a damn about?
No, there was it was the kick bouts that brought down the finish percentage. Every single kick bout went to decision this time. And if you take out the kick bouts, like
dude, it's because they had iron chins, dude. Are you kidding me? Did you any like? I think they tried to put matchups where people would get knocked out, but the Ueno brothers just couldn't, quite literally, couldn't kill their opponents. They tried. They tried. I mean, look, both the Ueno brothers fights could have been done in the first round. Their opponents, dude, they're Mexican of Japan and Asia. I swear to God, their chins are iron. Yeah. So I ain't blaming the kid. I was like, I ain't gonna go full Andrew on this show. I thought the kickboxing was excellent. I think kickboxing was actually some of the most exciting fights on this card. Really? I hate when everybody rips on the fucking kickboxing on these cards. Like, how else are we gonna watch live deep kick? We ain't. It's gonna be on RIZIN. So enjoy it, man, because all these freaking UFC fans complain about, oh, there's too much grappling in MMA. Well, RIZIN's giving you striking, and then the RIZIN fans complain about the striking. You can't win, brother. You can't win.
Preach, brother. And look at Cuba's comments. The Epic RIZIN, they have the lightning fast pacing with the fantastic VTRs that are better than UFC's VTRs. Man, come on. No UFC nut hugging allowed on this show.
Kickboxing in a cage sucks. I agree, but like
it does.
So does MMA, in my opinion. Now that can be contested, but it's like a landmark show, right? It's like we're gonna watch it and just hate watch it, bro. Like I said, I think there's way too many UFC fans who hate watch the sport. Anyways, I celebrated every single fight on this card.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. It was cool. There were some bangers for the kick, but in terms of the finish percentage, the kick really brought the finishing percentage down. If you take out the kick bouts, then the finishing percentage would have been higher than what the decision percentage was. So that's all I'm saying. But it was okay.
I don't know if you'd survive that.
Wow.
Oh, hey, Chris, get back to your original question. It was fantastic. And the finishes we got for the 12 fights that we gave it, they were sensational. There was a KO of the Year candidate, and we'll get into all this. There was a Knockout of the Year candidate, and there was finally a superior rule set finish that we've been wanting forever. Seems like for like the past several years, it seems like, and we finally got one. So it was sensational, dude. I absolutely loved it. Aisha actually called me during his live stream when the superior rule set finish happened. That was freaking awesome. So that was, it was great. I
will say though, it was the body shot that dropped him. The kick was just icing
on the cake.
Yeah.
Yes, but of course, now that we basically gotten all of this shit out of our system, and Kubrick talking about rather getting his ass eaten by a chupacabra than watching a kickboxer fight in a cage.
Chupacabra, he must be Hispanic. Chupacabras, that's Central America. That's where the chupacabras are from.
Dad are spending way too much time on OnlyFans.
Okay, I have an OnlyFans page myself. It's just that I don't do much on it.
Mine is to watch Cage Fury FC because they make us watch the prelims on OnlyFans. I'm not gonna say anything bad. I'm gonna say that they probably got paid money, but it's stupid.
Why do they have chupacabra stuff on OnlyFans?
No, I don't fucking know. I'm just saying Cage Fury FC, they used to do their prelims on YouTube and get like at least a few thousand views, like live. And then OnlyFans, I guess, gave them big money. I haven't been able to confirm how much money, but I'm guessing enough to not put their stuff on YouTube and only get 100 viewers.
Wow.
I roll my eyes. Their poor Muay Thai literally started and died on that website because no one knew it existed. But anyways,
it's probably better than remember Full Metal Dojo was on Cam Soda.
Oh
yeah.
Mayhem Miller was promoting that early days on his Twitter.
But still, though, moving right along, we had 12 fights that we gave a shit about when it came down to this fight card. And we're going to run through the main event on down in this case. Well, actually, no. Just like last time when it came down to, I don't know, you probably listened, Aisha, but you weren't here, so I'll just explain. When it came down to the preview of this, Jay Wolf can attest to it. we talked about the featherweight fights taking up 4 of the 5 slots on the main card a la carte. So, when it comes down to it, I mean, I guess it's only best to start at the top and just talk about the rest of the featherweight fights a la carte. First of all, in the main event, Vugar Karamov defeated Shuya Kimura via unanimous decision. This after Karamov pretty much brutalized the gladiator fighter for most of the damn fights. And, of course, Karamov will get an opportunity to face off against Rajabali Shaidulayev at Super RIZIN 4 coming up in about 6 weeks' time.
Is that official? I was seeing stuff saying that they haven't made that official yet because he took some damage, he had a cut, and even he was saying that he doesn't know if he's going to be ready to fight Shaidulayev by the flu. I didn't see nothing about him recovering from the flu, but I was seeing that he wasn't ready to fight again from the damage he took in the fight.
I mean, of course, to be honest,
if Suzuki came back in a month and a half, then Karamov should be fine. That's all I'm gonna say.
There's a reason.
If Suzuki came back from that Doubtbeck fight in a month and a half. There's no excuse, Karamov. Get some freaking stitches up in Canada from the hockey boys doctor and call it a day.
Yeah, but that's why they say card subject to change underneath every fight card, at least here in this part of the world. So, who knows? We probably might see something happen when it comes down to Rajabali Shaidullayev's future opponent. And Kubrick is saying, oh, hell no, you can't train for Shaidulayev in just 1 month.
That's a good point. And that was what, Chihiro, like you were saying, Aisha, that was too quick of a turnaround after it was a fight of the year war with Doubtbeck. And he took some damage, had a cut, everything. So, I mean, that you were absolutely right. I was the one saying, oh, it's fine. He's young enough. He'll be, but no, it wasn't enough time. So maybe that's what Shaidullayev's thinking. I mean, excuse me. Maybe that's what Vugar Karamov is thinking. Is that, hey, that's not enough time for me to face a fighter the caliber of Shaidulayev, even for the title. So
yeah, and honestly, I wasn't Karamov dominated, but for how much he dominated, I think halfway through the fight we all expected a finish. So I'll give credit where credit is due to the Korean kid. From the first 2 minutes, it was oh yeah, he's outclassed. We all saw it, right? It was just way too big of a step up in competition. But Vugar didn't look like he was in top form, right? He looked good. He got the win. And again, he beat him everywhere. But I feel like after the first round, it was all right, dude, when are you gonna, hit the nail home? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So maybe I'm not respecting the Korean fighter enough, which again, coming into the fight, there was a lot of questions that I wanted answered. He's tough as nails, but I think we kind of already knew that. And I will say, his cardio wasn't bad. He just had no room to breathe, ironically enough.
Mm-hmm. Understood.
But actually, wait, you gotta take into factor. It was how long of a layoff it was for Karamov. It was over a year.
No, was it?
Yeah, remember he was out because of the.
No, he came back, J Wolf, and fought Satoshi in December.
Oh, did he?
At lightweight.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I thought he was out for a year.
Before that.
Oh, okay. Never mind. No. Okay, then you're right. You're absolutely right. So
no, he fought in November of 2024. He beat Majima on his return after being a little hooligan, and then fought Satoshi, and then in December, at lightweight though, right? Then came back down to fight Kimura in this one. So
okay,
yeah.
No, I do now. Yeah, and it was at lightweight. I remember moving up, and okay, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's just
there wasn't an excuse for Karamov. If anything, it was Karamov won how a lot of us probably thought he was going to win. I think based on the first round and even the first 2 minutes, it was okay, if you really want to show Sakakibara that you deserve the title shot, you got to finish this guy. And then on the other side of it, to give some respect to his opponent, Kimura, we've never seen him out of the first round. He went all 3, didn't look gassed, just looked like he had no room to work. And when he had some inches on the feet, we showed why he got there. This was just too much, too fast. But again, I got to be critical of Karamov. And that wasn't a Shaidulayev winning or deserving performance, in my opinion.
Agreed, 100%.
Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the second fight that took place in the featherweight division. At least, well, the main event on this particular card. Ilkham Nazimov knocking out Suguru Ni 2 minutes 9 seconds of round number 1. And in the case of the finish, I mean, Jay Wolf, you were probably most definitely excited about the fact that it was a superior rule set finish. It was front and then a kick to the damn noggin.
No, you're thinking of the Kolesnik bout.
Oh,
the Nazimov.
Yeah, this was an Anderson Silva kick to the face, and Nazimov was losing. God damn it! God damn it! God damn it!
Woo!
Knee almost won. I'm speaking for Drew here right now. Knee almost won. God damn it! He was beating him up. He was beating him up. He was finding his way to victory. God, I've never been so angry to see a front kick to the face in my entire life. But it was beautiful. It was beautiful. But I am gutted because I'm a huge, as you can see, Suguru Ni fan, and I was so sad. I think I cried on stream. I cried like the Japanese fighters who win or lose. They all cry, and I was crying for Suguru Ni.
Andrew both are some huge marks for Suguru Ni.
I'm so pissed. I just crumpled up all my notes, boys.
Okay, you didn't need them in the first place. Not on this show. But no, when it comes down to Ilkham Nazimov, and I basically got the comment highlighted from Combat Sports Today. Do y'all think that
no
deserves a? Well, damn.
Lucky front kick, bro. I don't think either of them. No, it was a beautiful knockout. I'm obviously getting over dramatic here, but I was until he landed that. I was again kind of like with Vugar. I was honestly more impressed with Ni. And no, I actually don't even bet on MMA. I'm just a Suguru Ni fan, a shameless Suguru Ni fan. But I actually thought I was more disappointed until he landed that shot or those few that combo, which then eventually set it up because Ni was like, you know, a little out of it at that point. Yeah, man, I was honestly like, this is the guy everyone said would stomp Suguru Ni so easily. You know what I mean? Like this isn't the same guy we saw just come in so confidently in his last few fights in Nazimov. Like Ni got in his face early in and out of the pocket. That weird side, like he was going full karate stance at some points, attacking the knees. And again, like I told everyone on the prediction video, I swung with the knee pick. I was shamelessly just like picking him because I was a fan. A lot of us didn't really give him a chance unless it hit the ground and maybe he could take the back. But we all know Ni doesn't do great work from his back. If you'd have told me coming into this fight that on the feet, Ni would have been out boxing him, I would have said like you're crazy. But Ni did just that until the range started to become an issue and obviously the front kick to the face. So, no, he does not deserve to fight Shadullayev after that.
Jay, what say you?
Well, first of all, shout out to the Combat Sports Today fam. Absolutely love you guys. And if I don't know if you guys saw it, I tweeted out during the show that I would like Kolesnik to face Kolesnik to face Shadullayev next since he has sensational first-round superior rule set finish. And then I think Nazimov, yes, he should fight for the title, but I think that they should use that for if they go to was it Tajikistan or Kyrgyzstan? One of those two countries, I forget which one it was. Where if you look at Sakaki Barasan's feed, the CEO of Epic RIZIN, he had a meeting with the leader, or prime minister, or whatever, president of Kyrgyzstan, I think it was, and they were talking about doing a World Series event there, like they did in Korea, and talking about bringing over more fighters and stuff like that. And I'm thinking Nazimov versus Shadullayev headlining that World Series Kyrgyzstan would be sensational. So that's the one. I was telling him, for right now for Super RIZIN 4, I think it should be Kolesnik because he has sensation. I'm sure we'll talk about that next. I think he should be next for Super RIZIN 4 right away, and then you save Nazimov for when they go to Kyrgyzstan, which could it be November this year or first quarter next year? I don't know, but I think that would be a sensational headliner for the World Series event in Kyrgyzstan.
I see, but Kubrick also said that these guys already rehydrated after cutting weight, and to do it again in a month or two is too much.
Yeah, actually, I agree. Like, why is there the rush to get Shadowed Alive in another title defense? So, like, just like that. Like, I get he's a hot commodity, but like, is 2-3 months really that?
It would be his first title defense.
Sorry, but just get him in a title defense. You know what I mean? Like, why? Like, I get he's a hot commodity, but like, can't we just like wait a month or two? Like, and I only say that not because of like him. He's ready, but just like the contenders are all fighting right now.
You know what it is? I think they want to get him on because Super RIZIN 4 is going to be a massive show. It's going to have a lot of eyeballs.
That sounds like a RIZIN scheduling problem, not the fighters' problem. Yet it's the fighters' fault, and they're going to be the ones who get, the shit end of the stick.
Dude, I totally agree. I feel like the challenger is going to come in at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
Even if it's Kolesnik, where he had a quick first-round knockout, because like Kubrick's saying, he's going to have to weight cut again in a little over a month's time in between weight cuts. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like a lot, like obviously, like Kubrick, he probably knows. He probably even watches more than me. But like for a lot of people who like don't know, they look at RIZIN's schedule and go like, oh, they only do like a card every 2 months or whatever. It's like. But like most of the same fighters are on the rotation, right? A lot of the big names are on that rotation. Whereas like, yeah, the UFC and KSW and Octagon, they may have cards more often, but it's like they got a bigger roster of stars or bigger roster of guys and gals who sell like tickets, right? So or they just do in the Apex if it's the UFC. So it's a little bit different where it's like there's a lot of like the top end of RIZIN have a crazy strength of schedule.
And now Kubrick is saying Shadow just face Satoshi. That can't happen.
He needs to defend his flyweight or for the weight at least once.
Yeah. Basically have to have Shadow Laya force himself up 10 pounds.
I don't think he's gonna force it. Let's be honest. Shadow Laya probably cuts to get to 145. I'm sure. Those caucus boys are big. I'm sure he'd be happy to fill in at 155.
Yeah, but are they big enough to basically cut walking weight down to fighting weight?
I don't think that's the issue. I think the issue is like you got to get him to defend once, or else it's like, is he really the true contender for Satoshi? I think after a title defense, and if Satoshi like does defend against someone outside the promotion, then it's like, okay, that is a super fight on the last fight of Shadulev's contract. That would be perfect. If he wins, then his agent's getting paid from the UFC, baby.
Yeah.
Because they ain't giving no 15-15. He's gonna want like 100 to 200 to come in, and they're gonna pay him. They're gonna pay him, especially if he beats Satoshi. But like, the only fight for Satoshi right now is Saladin in KSW. There is no other. There is no other fight. That is the fight.
You mean Saladin or not?
Yeah, there is no other option for him. That is it. There is no other option.
And let's go ahead and move on.
Oh, we're already done. Did we say that Nazimov? Want to make sure that was a clear KO of the year candidate.
It was nice.
Make sure to put that out.
He looked like Anderson Silva knocking out our boy.
And I definitely agree with Combat Sports Today News. Want to give a shout out to Combat Sports Today News fam again. That yes, I agree that Nazimov should be fighting for the title in the very near future, and I want it to headline the Kyrgyzstan World Series card in the future. But for Super RIZIN 4, I think it should be Soldakin. I mean, I'm mixing up my Russians. Kolesnik. I think it should be if they're gonna force Shadulaev to fight force Shadulaev fight at Super RIZIN 4 in a month and a half. I think Kolesnik should be the one to get it there. I think it's too soon to put Vugar in there. And, like Aisha was saying, why not just have another card and they can headline another card easily? They need to start doing a card a month. Don't they want a subscription from us? Come on.
I mean, they don't have to do it all the time, but like if they're like, okay, we have to make these certain fights, especially if we want to target some guys for New Year's, then we have to be a little bit more strategic now. And that's a good problem to have. RIZIN will die. I would be 100% down for that in the interim. 100% down for that in the interim. I think he gets his ass kicked by Shadulaev, but if he can crack him on the entry, we got a Wish version of O'Malley versus Marab up in this motherfucker.
The key in this case mentioned is Jae Young Sung of South Korea, who just fought at the RIZIN World Series in Korea card.
Yeah, he's sick. He's so good.
Mm-hmm. But still, though, when it comes down to events, I don't think they can do that one event a month thing because you run the risk of oversaturation like what the UFC does every goddamn weekend.
No, they're going to have to eventually. What you want to only have 4 divisions for the rest of their existence, or do you want them to expand the roster? I mean, they're going to have to do more cards eventually.
I'm down for more cards, and they don't have to do one. Like, again, RIZIN and Octagon, and even Black Combat, sometimes they'll do 2 in a month and then take a month break. It's just like what fighters are ready on our roster and what matches we can make, and then looking ahead, what can we target? Because New Year's is the big one. And now Super RIZIN cards are too, but like, let's be honest, like they want certain guys on the New Year's card every year, but they also want some guys to be active. So like the matchmakers have to start playing more chess now than checkers. And that's, again, like I said, they have better fighters on the roster. They have a bigger roster. This is a good problem to have. Let's not shoot ourselves in the foot here, RIZIN, and like, you know, plug all the contenders up in one, you know, part of the season, part of the year, and then you know, give them a disadvantage, like you said, and like, okay, you guys all just fought, but you're less banged up. You're gonna fight Shah Dulaev next. It's like, no, man, just like be a little bit more strategic about it. Yeah, easier said than done, but I think it's a good problem to have, and they should start thinking about it now.
Well, of course, Kubrick brings this up. Last time RIZIN did back-to-back shows, no one bothered going to the second show.
Yeah, but this time they'll have names on both the shows. And again, like, is like 55 days between shows like that bad? And again, I'm not even saying every time. I'm just saying like maybe there's 2 months out of the year where the schedule they have to do some stuff. They have to move it along to get guys ready for other title fights or projected targets and things like that. And again, sometimes Black Combat, sometimes Deep, they'll do 2 in a month and then they'll take a break, right? And it just is what it is. And again, I'm going to go back to it again. I've said it like 5 times. It's a good problem to have when your roster is that good and you have to strategically make these fights.
100%. And also, what is his definition of no one showed up? I mean, if they didn't fill it up to 20,000 fans, is that called no one showed up?
Yeah.
I mean, they still got 10, 12,000 fans. So it's like, come on.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with if it's 1 week after another, that's not how they do things there. But if it's like 50 days between it and they have to squeeze another one in, I'm no complaints on my side. They literally just did it with the Korea show.
Yeah.
Well, Kubrick also says that, talking about when they ran a show 1 week and another out there.
Yeah, that's a whole different story. And I'm on his side there.
I mean, I think it was the RIZIN. Let me go ahead and understand this. I think it was Easter, like 2 years ago. They had a RIZIN show, a RIZIN numbered show. Well, actually,
and then they had a landmark the next week. I remember that one.
And then they had a RIZIN numbered show.
Yeah, they had one. They had them back to back, and the numbered show was. They should have done it the opposite. They should have done like the less meat on the bone first as an appetizer.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I remember I was numbered, and then it was I think it was Landmark 6. It might have been 4 or 6. I remember covering it, and I remember it was lackluster.
Oh yeah, of course. And now let's go ahead and move on to probably the lackluster featherweight fight of the main card, and that was the General Killer, Monster Kun, Hiroaki Suzuki, getting one fight closer to inching up his record at 500 when he defeated Sora Yamamoto via unanimous decision. Now, when it came down to this fight, Michael Schiavello just couldn't stop gawking about how Suzuki was a pressure fighter. But when it came down to this fight, do you think that the pressure was mostly on Hiroaki to perform well, or Sora just, try not to get too dominated?
I mean, they both came into this one with not the best records and on a losing streak. So I would say the pressure is probably on the younger guy because he's beaten, like Yamamoto's beaten some pretty good guys on the rise, and then he's faced really good competition. He's faced good competition. I'll remove the adverb there. He's faced good competition overall, but I would say probably the pressure's on him. I mean, Suzuki's in the end of his fighting career, anyways, despite being jacked on some sort of Russian gas. Because there's him and Suzuki or him and Satoshi, bro. I'm telling you, those guys. Anyways, they're gonna be fighting forever if they keep huffing what they're huffing out there. But anyways, I thought he looked really good. I was very impressed. I picked him to win. I didn't think he was going to dominate that easily. And he absolutely beat him everywhere. He beat him on the feet. He beat him in the wrestling. He beat him on the ground. Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this one. I thought this fight, I thought Suzuki was going to would have to stink this one up to get a win. Would have to do his best like Ota impression, which is not going to get you wins in RIZIN. Takeda, but no, he actually came to fight, and man, both of them took some damage. They traded some shots, and then I liked how Suzuki came out doing more damage, beating him up more, and like I said, just getting the better of his opponent pretty much every facet of that fight. I was very impressed with the old man.
Okay, Jay, what say you about this fight?
Same here, 100%. I thought it was, I don't agree it was lackluster. I thought it was great, and it got a pop from the crowd. The crowd was very into it. They were very happy that Suzuki won and got the win. And if you remember, there was some superior rule set action in this one. There was like he had like almost like a wheelbarrow type of a thing, and grounded, kicked him in the face, and then also he went for a flying stomp, my personal favorite strike in the entire game. So that really got me out of my seat and got me excited for this bout. And like Aisha was saying, it was a fantastic performance by Suzuki, and he got the W fair and square, and the crowd loved it. And I don't think it was all it lacked was a finish. If it would have been a finish, we'd be raving about it. So I mean,
Suzuki had his opportunities. Didn't he drop him once?
I thought sure. I mean, I have to look. I haven't watched it again. I haven't had time to go back and rewatch any fights yet. But this is definitely one of the ones I want to rewatch just to see that.
He rocked him a few times for sure. I don't know if he maybe straight dropped him or not, but like there were. I was watching that fight thinking like, oh, Suzuki might actually finish him.
I mean,
you know what I mean? So
one of the rockings, did he rock him that one time when he grounded kicked him?
Yeah, and then he also landed he landed some good shots in the clinch as well. Like I was impressed with Suzuki, man. And I like what Kubrick said. He said that so is a fraud spect. I mean, he's not I don't care how old he is. He's not a prospect anymore. He's a 500 journeyman fighter at this point, in my mind.
Even though he's 24 years old, about to be 25.
It doesn't matter. There's Thai fighters who are 23 who have 200 fights. I ain't calling them a prospect either. This guy's got plenty of pro fights, man. He has more pro fights than half the prospects coming up in the UFC or any other major organization. He's got some good wins. I'll give him credit, but you can't get over the hump. And if you can't get over the hump over Suzuki, bro,
yeah,
I don't know.
That is kind of true, especially when you're trying to beat somebody up who's 40 years old and has been through the struggle, so to speak. I mean, the dude's a former shootboxing champion.
Yeah, he's 40. Yeah, and again, I know his physique. I know his physique looks like he's 22. That's what I'm saying. Like, I want to get on whatever Satoshi and he's on, man.
And Kubrick said that the English trailer called both Suzuki and I'm sorry. And are pretty much a very big problem. But what the fuck were they snorting when they were saying that both Suzuki and Sora were two young prospects? It's very
probably just a misspeaking. But I mean, hey, 40 is the new 20 now.
Because they looked at Suzuki and went, "Oh, there's no way he's 40. Look at that six pack."
I can't even fucking deal with that shit.
But hey, it was a cool fight, guys. I mean, the Japanese
it was a great fight. It was a great fight. Like I said, the bar was set high though for Sora and deservingly so, and he stayed in the basement and Suzuki kept him there.
Of course he did. But still though, while we all agree that fight was very lackluster.
No, I don't. I think it was a good fight. I don't think it was lackluster. I thought it was a good fight. I was going in thinking it was going to be lackluster, and Suzuki, I even wrote in my notes here, way better fight than expected.
Nice.
Yeah. My apologies then. I guess
and I won $5. That's the only one I bet on. Out of every single fight I bet on Suzuki, I won $5 on him, so thank you. Thank you, Suzuki.
Oh, and by the way, just wanted to make clear this. When you do bet on fights, always make sure to bet enough of what you can afford. Don't lose meaninglessly on fights that don't matter.
Yeah. This one was like a friendly, too. It wasn't even on an app, so.
But still, though, moving along, we go from a fight that I thought was lackluster to a fight that everybody popped hard for, because let's face it, it made me want to pull out my best Boss Rutan impression and say, "Uh-oh, punch to the liver, dang it, dang it, dang it, dang." And a soccer kick to boot, no less. At the end of it, that was Victor Kolesnik knocking out Kisuke Sasu, the current Shudo featherweight champion. 4 minutes, 43 seconds, round one. I mean, let's just face it. And I'm looking through the comments now, seeing what Kubrick had to say about this fight. But let's just face it. Is it or is it not a knockout of the year contender?
I'm gonna say no, because the body shot is what dropped him, and he just grazed him with the grounded kick. I would say, and as much as and this is again unbiased, even though I love Segura knee, I think that was a way better knockout. I think that I think this fight overall was awesome because we all wanted Victor and we needed him to make a statement. We didn't want to see him wrestle again, and there were no wrestling from him. If anything, he was forcing his opponent to try to take him down. He was getting back up to his feet and just beautiful striking. Beautiful striking. Reminded me of the guy we saw on the Rise and in one championship and things like that, right? So I was very happy. I was impressed, and yeah, I at first thought that's what put him out, but no, it was the body shot, and then it was just icing on the cake. So if we're going in comparison, I would say that the other knockout was nicer, and I don't think this one deserves knockout of the year. But I'm very happy it occurred.
I mean, well, Kubrick did say it's rare to see body shots that brutal in mixed martial arts.
I don't. Maybe it's because I watch 30 plus hours of MMA a week, but I see them every week. So,
I mean, you probably need more hobbies, dude. Let's just say that.
Dude, I have too many. I am maxed out. I have to go for a run after this. I got to watch Ice Wars. But yes, I've been trying to play the guitar again. It's in the corner, as you guys can see. I learned the Pride FC theme song though, so
nice.
I feel like I'm on the right direction back.
Understood. Jay, what say you? You popped hard for this knockout.
Oh, dude. I was telling Aisha when he called me for it during his live stream, I was like, dude, I practically ran outside and howled at the moon. So dude, it got me out of my seat. I was so happy to finally get a superior rule set grounded kick knockout. We've been
after intermission.
Yeah, after intermission, exactly. I mean, it was so great, dude. It was fantastic. And I consider it one of the knockouts of the night. I do not. I agree with Aisha. Even though it was a superior rule set kick, finally, I did not have it as a KO of the year candidate. I did have Nazimov definitely as a KO of the year candidate, and both like Aisha was saying, we were saying on the preview shows, if you guys remember, that we were saying, hey, if the main event with Vugar and Kimura doesn't deliver, one of these two guys should be fighting next for the top if they put on a sensational performance, and both of them did. Nazimov and Kolesnik did. So, and they are clearly in title contention right now. And like I was saying, that's why I wanted Kolesnik to be plugged in if they're going to force Chadalaya to fight on Super RIZIN 4 to get him exposure in one of their biggest tentpole events of the year. Then I think they should put in Kolesnik and then save Nazimov for when they go to Kyrgyzstan, like Sakibara-san was tweeting about that. That's possibly their next World Series event place. So I think they should save Nazimov for the Kyrgyzstan event. But still, both their KOs were absolutely sensational, and Nazimov was clearly a KO of the year candidate. And this one, even though I'm not going to say technically a KO of the year candidate, for me, it was, because it was a grounded kick KO, a superior rule set KO we've been waiting for. I just absolutely loved it.
Jay Wolf, the one we saw in Black Combat 2 weeks ago was a nicer grounded kick.
Is absolutely
that one's more KO of the year. He kicked him in the face 3 times, and the ref was like, okay, that's enough.
I know. Was that Yuji Shimada or Hamasaki ref in that? I mean, that ref had a bloodlust, a just bleed fan ref. That was That was insane. I can't wait to watch those next Black Combats with you.
Yeah, dude. As much as I love RIZIN, man, you got Black Combats in the rearview mirror now. You gotta step it up a little bit. They're coming.
Yeah, right.
They're coming.
Got to step their game up to catch the Black Combat. But hey, this card right here is a great first step. I mean, we got a grounded kick knockout. We're getting some flying stomps from Suzuki. If you remember, you notice throughout the whole card there was superior rule set action. Almost all the mixed martial arts fight, be it grounded knees or when they were even the amateur fights, or I shouldn't even call them amateur fights. The 2-round fights where they had the guy was in the leg lock position and he was doing kicks to the face to get out of them. That happened like 2 or 3 times in this card. So,
dude, in my opinion, the Battle of the Unks was the fight of the night.
Yeah.
No, I'm not even kidding. Narita and Noto was the fight of the night. These 2 fucking 40-year-olds went to war. Like, I was losing my mind. It was sloppy as hell. It looked like some PFL, prelim shit, but like it was entertaining.
Yeah, it was a banger, 100%.
Okay.
Kubrick, don't even put that out into the universe. I'm so mad at Drew for even saying that, because I mean it might be true. We're wondering, like, why is there not more superior rule set grounded kicks and stuff like that? And it, could it be because they think it's too brutal but they're not.
It happens anymore. It happens in deep every single card, even in the ones that, dude, it happens so much in deep. The refs forget which fights are superior rule set and not. And it literally happened on their last card. So in the one superior rule set, or in the one that wasn't superior rule set, some woman threw a kick and they're like, can't do that. The next fight was superior rule set. The guy throws a kick. The ref stops it. The ref outside the cage goes, no, that was legal. Reset. And then he stomps him in the face and kicks him in the face after, and like looks at the ref and goes, what? So like, I think the fighters are still inclined, maybe not in RIZIN, maybe the big ups from RIZIN are doing that. I don't know. But in the other leagues that allow it, dude, they're taking every opportunity they can. Like I said, I know this isn't Japan, it's Black Combat. But like they are literally bringing in Brazilians and saying, kick his head into the fucking crowd. And they are, because they want to hear the announcer go, go!
Oh, I love it.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. No, I don't think they're discouraging them, and the conspiracy theory is they're doing that to make them UFC ready or whatever for the pussified UFC rule set. But
yeah, how's that helping out Kai Esker defend a back take?
Absolutely. It's just, dude, so Kubrick, no, it's not happening. No, that conspiracy theory is not happening. As we saw from this card, Kolesnik just put that conspiracy theory to bed. It's not happening. They still allow superior rule set. We get almost every card, and we finally got a finish this card. So, I mean, hey, that goes against that whole Drew's whole conspiracy theory about that.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? Kind of think of it. The lone message. Well, actually, no. The lone outlier on the main card that wasn't a featherweight fight. It was a lightweight bout. Yoshinori Horlier knocking out Yamato Nishikawa. And I'm pretty sure you're saying Nishikawa's not a prospect. I mean, this one pretty much proved it, but it also proved
that he's too small, brother. He's tiny.
Well, but also in the 4 minutes and 50 seconds this fight took place, it also proved that Yoshinori Horlier has hands for something other than what?
He not only has hands, he has bows.
He has hands and elbows and elbows and I mean, let's just say the UFC's loss is RIZIN's gain, because Yoshinori Horlier threw hands like nobody's business in that fight.
He was awesome. It
was super impressive. I think that was if they need somebody for the title next against Satoshi, I think that was a title what?
Eliminator?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think that was a title eliminator performance, and I think Hori punched his ticket to face Satoshi. But I also agree with Aisha.
Dude, Satoshi's going to beat him up for warm-up in the room before he fights Saladin. As much as I love Hori, dude, Satoshi's going to beat him up in the room for free as a warm-up before he fights Saladin.
Wow.
But, hey, they need a contender right now for Satoshi, right? And
dude, Satoshi just fought. He doesn't need to fight anybody.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Just had a warm-up fight against Won Bin Ki in South Korea, but
he was saying like that was like a first round bludgeoning of him, and he was saying he wants to defend his title. So that's why I'm saying if he's going to defend his title later this year, I think Jorge punched his ticket for that. And that's if they cannot make the crossover super fight happen with KSW champion Saladin Parnassi, who, by the way, that's why Aisha was even bringing him up, is because he tweeted or not tweeted, but he was telling people like media outlets that were tweeting about it, saying, hey, he wants to fight in Japan, specifically saying RIZIN Fighting Federation and specifically saying the RIZIN champions that are fantastic fighters.
Because he knows it's a super fight and they are the best two lightweights outside the UFC.
Absolutely, 100%. And I hope that happens. And if it is going to happen, that's the fight to make. But if that is not going to happen, there's any kind of roadblocks or whatever with the collaboration, I think Jorge has punched his ticket, and that can happen later on this year. And yes, Kubrick, we'll let them get some rest, so it doesn't have to happen next month. The Super RIZIN 4.
Yeah, Jorge's performance was sensational. What this told me was A, Jorge's way more well-rounded than I gave him credit for, and B, Nishikawa is not a lightweight. Like he's just like, and again, like he looked awful in that fight, but he looked tiny. Smaller than like, and Jorge's a big guy too, right? Like, what did Jorge come in?
Wait, what you're saying, Aisha, is that Yamato Nishikawa was a natural featherweight?
Dude, he looked like he had more than love handles in that fight. This guy probably could fight at 135 given his height. I think he should test himself at 145 next. And if he's like, oh, you know what? Like working with the proper nutritionist, I can actually get down even more. Like we'll see. But like he looked like BJ Penn fighting at freaking heavyweight in there, right? No, I'm being mean. But you know what I mean? Like he didn't.
Or open weight when he fought Vitor Belfort and came all those years ago.
No, did he fight He fought Machida, I know.
Yeah,
did he fight Belfort too?
Machida, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because that was K1. No, but like you know what I mean? Like he looks like he doesn't want. And I'm not saying that you like should put your body through crazy weight cuts, but it looks like he doesn't want to put in the work to be as athletic as guys at 145. And
could be.
And I'll say this. In his Bellator performances, he did impress me in losses. This was obviously not an impressive loss. Like he got destroyed.
It was more impressive for Jorge, 100%. And you know, I want to give a shout out to Anarchy MMA from the Discord and on Twitter and stuff. One of the bros, he was saying about how the Japanese fighters they don't cut enough weight. He was saying exactly what you're saying, Aisha, that these guys should, you know, try to cut more weight and cut down another weight class here. And, you know, he not only about Nishikawa here, but also in the main event, he was saying Kimura looked like he could have, you know, was undersized a little bit and could have dropped down a couple more pounds. So, but I mean, it was just, you know, so I agree with you, but at the same time, you know, on your previous show, wasn't Nishikawa the favorite and wasn't Jorge the slight underdog?
Dude, I picked Nishikawa to win like a fool. Like a fool.
I told you.
No, it was a pick'em. It was a pick'em, but he was the slight favorite at minus 155, and I think Jorge was like plus 120 or something like that. So but you know what? And I even wrote in my notes here, like I thought it was going to be more of a war. I thought it was going to be more. I thought if it was on the ground, I thought there'd be more scrambles. If it was on the feet, I thought that Nishikawa would have gotten his boxing together in the pocket, but Jorge just absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah.
So it was an unexpected domination, but I'm very happy with what I saw because now it's like, oh, Jorge actually is way more, like I said off the top, way more well-rounded than I thought.
Absolutely. And you know, I just want to go ahead, Jake Rich. Go ahead.
I just want to give a shout out to Cathal Coley. He says he's heading to the airport, listening to this on the plane. You guys are awesome. Thank you for that. Kubrick says, hey, Cathal, hopefully you can be on Focus Fights Audio again and get on We Are RIZIN podcast sometime as well.
Yeah, shout out to Cathal Cole. He's a Suplex 10. So big shout out to Suplex 10. He's in the Discord, everything. Great guy, great fan. So, yeah, big shout out to him. But actually, hey, on the City Life product preview, Didn't I pick Hori as said he was the livest underdog on the whole card?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I just want to blow my victory there real quick.
Yeah.
Well, now we go from a fight where we all know who had hands to now 2 heavyweight fights where, well, let's just say any type of physical action was pretty much snuffed out over 2 15-minute fights. Oh, and by the way, Cathal is saying, I will, bro, 100% off to the snake pit and wig him.
Nice.
I mean, that's interesting. But still, though, point of the matter is we now go to the super big boys. And in this case, one of the fights was the final heavyweight Grand Prix quarterfinal. Alexander Dotkin defeated His Majesty Prince Al Nala, the Hexagon MMA heavyweight champion, via unanimous decision to earn the final slot in the heavyweight Grand Prix alongside Marek Samochiuk, alongside Tsuyoshi Sudaria. Alongside Marek Samochiuk, Mikio Ueda, and Jose Augusto. Meanwhile, in the heavyweight fight that a lot of people were, or in my case, weren't anticipating, Sina Karimian, the hero of foul play and not giving a fuck, defeated the Kaiju Killer, Hidetaka Arato, via unanimous decision in a fight where, let's just say, Karimian had his opportunities to beat him, but it was just a lackluster shit show.
Dude, you know what? Caposa said it best. He went, "Oh no, Cena's actually here to fight."
I mean, we can talk about.
No, you know what I mean? It could have been a clown show, and I think we kind of all wanted it to be a clown show, and it actually just turned into kind of a boring fight because Cena was taking the fight way more seriously than I think we all expected. And Kyoji Killer, man, like I swear this guy just ate a bucket of katsu before he came out because he looked awful.
Like 300 pounds and can barely move awful, or just like...
no, because he looked actually slimmer than he did recently, but he just fought like he was bloated. That's what I'm saying. He probably, like, I don't know what he weighed in at, but I think he was probably less than 265. But I swear on the walk up, just like stuff in his face with freaking katsu dogs and whatever, you know, some ramen in the back to maybe help with the nerves. And he had a big old fucking belly, and he was just way too heavy out there.
Oh my god,
that's what peak male performance looks like.
So what he
doesn't have a KFC bucket. He's got that katsu bucket on the way out.
Basically saying, Aisha, is that he was like the Japanese version of Roy Big Country Nelson, minus the actual kung fu skills.
Yeah, put it this way. His record looks better than it is if you put a magnifying glass to it. But like, having said that, he was the MMA guy, right? And Cena was just too tall for him to take down. And I figured he probably should have and could have gotten a takedown if he was in better... saying better shape for heavyweights is just hilarious. But you know what I mean? In better fight shape. Whereas this one, I think, you know, relatively short notice, they put it together. I think he thought, I'm just going to clinch this guy and take him down. And Cena actually fought him on the outside for a little bit and defended some of the takedowns, or at least the body lock up against the cage. Well, Cena had to throw, you know, he's a cheating fuck just like Bahram. So he had to throw one punch in at the end, right? You know, in between, I think it was the second and third. So like, at least he didn't hit the ref. But, everyone's saying it. Okay, Cena, so you want to be an MMA fighter? Ed Polo King's next. Ed Polo King's next, baby.
Yes. That's what we were all calling for Ed Polo King next. That's going to be the super fight of the big tall boys. It's going to, man. That's
come to think of it, that would be a big... I mean, this fight overall was nothing more but an old freak show because of the fact that Cena had that damn near 9-inch height advantage. I mean, dude 6'7" compared to Arato's 5'10".
It was an impressive performance by Cena. I mean, let's be real. Like Aisha was saying, we all thought he was going to get taken down and just, you know, grounded into paste. And we thought Kaiju Killer just had it. That's probably what Kaiju Killer was thinking too. He was thinking, just like Aisha was saying, he probably was pounding ramen and stuff all in the back. He just thought it was going to be an easy fight for him. And Cena literally took it serious, and he looked good, dude. He looked good for a beginning kickboxing crossover, mixed martial arts bout. I was impressed, and I'm totally on board with everybody saying, book the Ed Polo King fight right now. That is, Ed Polo King's he's 2-0, right? And now Cena's 1-0.
Ed Polo King is 1-0 as an active professional mixed martial artist.
Oh, so Ed Polo King's only 1-0 as well then. Okay, I thought he was 2-0.
Dude, I didn't think Ed Polo King looked good in his last fight at all, man. There was a 205 deep champ who took him down and started ground and pounding him. I don't know. I was really disappointed in Ed Polo King's win last time, personally.
But
so that's why I think this is good. You put two tall guys who were, who can at least sell some tickets, and then if RIZIN is serious about developing Ed Polo King, get him in there with some grapplers.
Yeah. No, I thought it, dude. Did he reverse that though? And he got the win.
He went up against a 205er who was the plus 600 underdog. You know what I mean? Like, there was no business. Yeah, of course he reversed him. If he didn't, I would have thrown up on stream. I'm not praising him of course he shouldn't have gotten taken down in the first place. Now, if he was going up against a true heavyweight, that's another story. But he was going up against a 205er who was struggling, who barely made 220 against the monster man that is. I
see what you're saying, but he did get him with a sneaky little trip. It wasn't like a double leg takedown, right? So, I mean, got to give him a little leeway because he
won, so I'll give him some little leeway. But I'm not impressed.
I'm not impressed by your performance.
Nice. No, but hey, okay.
Matt Hughes won that fight too, remember? And what did JSP say?
Yeah. Okay. No, I see what you're saying, but
speaking of not being impressed, though, when it came down to the heavyweight Grand Prix fight between Soldatkin and Al-Nala,
don't say you weren't impressed with that. Come on,
dude,
that was freaking awesome.
Yeah, our boy in the chat even said. What he said. His Majesty should have won based on just continuing to fight without seeing you. What a fight and what a dog, bro.
Yeah.
What a dog. Because Soldatkin was gassed after, a minute into the second? Right? A minute into the second round, he was huffing and puffing. I will give him credit. Even though he was gassed, he still threw. He would then throw 1-2, kick. 1, 2, 3, 4, front kick, teep. And then, so all the credit in the world to Soldatkin and all the credit to the RIZIN officials for not stopping that fight, man. Because if this was 5 years ago, the cut, the swollen eye, if this was on Fuji TV, bro, they would have gone to commercial break. They wouldn't even showed him in the corner, right? So, shout out to RIZIN for allowing that fight to continue. Shout out to His Majesty for just being an absolute dog and staying in the fight. He continued to land shots as well. But you looked at his face, you looked at Soldatkin's face, and you looked at every time Soldatkin hit him, man, his head moved. And he dropped him in the first round, too. Every time Soldatkin hit him in the leg or kicked him in the stomach, it was, oh, but he kept coming. Dude, Soldatkin is a beast and clearly never going to be in the UFC because this guy, I bet, pissed through the cup. It was so hot.
to be honest. But still, though, when it came down to this fight, just be glad it wasn't like the Bob Sapp Osunarashi fight from almost a decade ago.
No, it was great. And actually, it doesn't matter if they piss hot anymore. UFC dumped USADA. The guys in the UFC are all on the gear. Every single UFC fighter is on the gear now.
I will say more of them, it's easier to get by it, but they're still testing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with their own in-house testing. Come on. That's not
they selectively test, just like RIZIN. Yeah, you pissed us off. Oh, your traps are looking a little bit pissed.
Yeah. So I don't think that will prevent anybody from going to UFC anymore because they don't have USADA anymore. They do in-house testing. Everybody's on steroids, like Nick Diaz says, especially in the UFC nowadays. So that's not a problem. But dude, in this bout, you're absolutely right, Aisha. And if people would have seen your the City Life Project preview show, you did such a great job, and people would have known that Al-Nala was a worthy contender a worthy participant in this Grand Prix. You're absolutely right. He's absolute dog, just incredible heart, and kept coming forward. It looked like he'd been run over by a truck. Dude, he took so much damage, bro. And And you're absolutely right. So Dawkins was very impressive. With, even after he gassed, he was still in the fight. Remember the third round? Dude, he was throwing windmill kicks or wheel kicks, whatever you want to call them.
It was awesome.
While he was gassed and showing great takedown defense as well while gassed.
Bro showed that Hex champs are more entertaining than LFA. That's right. I said it.
Yes. And if people would have watched the City Life Project preview, they would have known that, because you had the clips that showed to where I was like, wow, this guy has incredible ground and pound with elbows and everything. This is a worthy challenge for Sodakin. This is a great, they plugged him in because Sodakin's original opponent, the Kyrgyz Hulk, got injured, right? So, and I'm sure they're going to have him on. He'll bring him back for when they do the World Series Kyrgyzstan show. So, but I mean, Ulu was his name. Thank you. Yeah, Ulu versus Kai. That's probably what it'll be, Kubrick, on the Kyrgyzstan, the RIZIN World Series Kyrgyzstan show in the near future, headlined by hopefully Nazimov and Shadalayev. But in this bout, the Al Nala, His Majesty the Prince, whatever I forget what his nickname is. Is it the Prince or is it just His Majesty?
His Majesty.
Okay, it's His Majesty. Okay, so His Majesty Al Nala was very impressive. And if people would have seen the City Life Project preview that we did, Aisha, they would have known, because it was, and he absolutely delivered the goods. And it was, dude, I believe it saved the heavyweight Grand Prix. People, they couldn't hate on it. Even the announcers were saying, this is already the best fight of the heavyweight Grand Prix. All it needed was a finish. And what's weird about it is that Sodakin, when he dropped him and he had him on the ground, it was like he was traumatized from the UFC pussified rule set where he got disqualified for an illegal knee, and he had an opportunity to throw one here in the superior rule set where it's completely legal, and he didn't do it. And it was like, it was weird. It's like, what happened? You knew the assignment in the UFC, but then when you get to where the assignment's actually legal, you don't utilize it. What's going on? So, but it was still, man, just like I said, it was a great fight. All it needed was the finish. And I'm sure Sodakin's gonna come back in the next fight. He's gonna know the assignment now, but hey, he's gonna see the tape and go, oh, I could have finished it right there with a grounded knee, just like I did in the UFC. So and now it's legal. So it just, man, I just cannot wait for the semifinals. It was a great heavyweight Grand Prix fight. I think it saved the heavyweight GP. Now the only reason I'm not trolling the people on Discord and everybody that are hating on the heavyweight Grand Prix is because it wasn't a finish. If there would have been a finish in this bout, oh, dude, the trolling would be relentless, and just wait for the semifinal.
Honestly, you have more grounds to troll, because it wasn't just if it was just a finish, they could be like, oh, the favorite won and he won via finish. It's still like watered down tournament. But because it was such a competitive, fun, hardcore fucking fight, I feel like you could be like, you have more grounds.
Yes. Oh, I love it, Aisha. I'm gonna go troll him tonight.
Yeah, there you go.
Before we move on, when it comes down to talking about the rest of the fights, I just gotta ask, if Cena Karimian had more experience, so to speak, do you think that he would have been a shoo-in for this heavyweight Grand Prix?
For the reserve match. I think there's still time, because we're only at the semis. We can do Cena and Ed Polo King for the reserve match.
I think I think it should just be 100% separate from the Grand Prix. Let's just have a heavyweight division. Let's just have heavyweights fight. There doesn't need to be a Grand Prix anymore. Just like you have heavyweights. There's a guy in LFA here who, if he doesn't get the call for Contender Series, bring him over for a fight or two. Let's see what he has, right? There's heavyweights right now around the world. It's so light, and the UFC only has 31 on their roster. So it's not like even the UFC are signing a lot of these guys right now. So if RIZIN wants to pounce on some guys who are just about to pop or want to get in early on some of the development there, then my buddy Steve Asplin, for example.
Is that Guzzi?
No, Guzzi got signed. Steve Asplin's in LFA. He's a heavyweight as well. And he's a striker first. RIZIN would love him. And he's got a story, but he used to be 500 pounds, okay? And started fighting to lose weight. Now he's a healthy 260, and he's a kickboxer. And his kryptonite is ground game, but he's getting better. And this is a guy who's he's Still needs a few more fights until like the UFC's probably like serious, but he's on their radar. And he's about to fight for the LFA heavyweight title. And I'm just saying, like, he's one example. I know him personally, but he's one.
But I hate to interrupt, Aisha, even though it's kind of my thing. But when it comes down to heavyweights, isn't their ground game almost always kryptonite? I mean, no, wait, damn it. Isn't their kryptonite almost always their ground game?
No, absolutely not. Not if they are wrestlers. Like Gabe Stevenson's about to make the jump to MMA, and he's one of the best heavyweight wrestlers of all time.
Okay, but please continue about Mr. Asplund.
Well, I was like, he just fits the mold that I think RIZIN's looking for. Like he will be in exciting fights, and there's a lot of heavyweights out there who are primary strikers. That are just like, 3 and 2 guys on the regional still, who maybe could get more than $700 in Cage Fury FC. And if RIZIN is really serious about building a heavyweight division, or at least just bringing in heavyweights for one fights here, they should really start looking internationally for heavyweights. And I know they have a little bit for the Grand Prix, but there's way more out there that like PFL and the UFC aren't going to pluck yet, but they can pay these guys even like $1,500 more than what they're making right now, and they'll jump on it. And a trip to Japan, like I really hope that if they're serious about the heavyweight division, it's not just Freak Show and it's not just Japan. You know what I mean?
And they 100% are. This heavyweight Grand Prix has proved it, and the winner of this heavyweight Grand Prix is fighting Ryan Bader on New Year's Eve. Big signing for a lot of money that they invested for the inaugural heavyweight title on New Year's Eve. So they are 100% serious about the heavyweight division, and I 100% expect them to do exactly what you're saying, bringing all these guys and the LFA guys everywhere. So, that's coming. It's coming in the near future. I think next year is going to be really the heavyweight breakout year for the Epic RIZIN Fighting Federation. If this year doesn't count, I think this year is the heavyweight breakout year with the heavyweight Grand Prix and Ryan Bader. But next year is when they really develop the division and solidify that heavyweight title, all that good stuff. So exactly what you're talking about, is going to happen next year.
I see. And you know what? Come to think of it, we're going to swerve off the schedule like they do on I-10 over in Houston. And we're going to swerve off of the listed fight results and just say, what other division they need help in? The women's divisions. And that would be the division. And in the division of strawweight in particular, Machi Fukuda just defeated Haruka Salt Hasegawa, the strawweight queen of Pancrase, via unanimous decision after 3 5-minute rounds. And Machi will basically talk until she's blue in the face about how RIZIN needs more focus on the strawweight division for the women. But I think as a whole, with Seika Izawa about ready to go on to greener pastures, possibly bulking up 10 pounds and going over to the UFC, do you think that with all of what women's MMA is now, I mean, obviously, Invicta's getting back to doing shows. You have fighters from all around the world looking to make their mark, just to showcase themselves. But Japan is like a small island in a big pond, so to speak. Do you think that the women's divisions also need that type of push just as big as the heavyweight division just to get over?
For me, it's tough to answer because for me, RIZIN, they're not really investing because of deep jewels. They just pluck from deep jewels whenever they want a women's fight here and there. Would I be down and would I like RIZIN to really go all in on their atom weights? Yes. That's really the only women's division I care about. 125, sure, 115, and it's fun, but like in Japan anyways, like in North America, I care about 125 women more because there's just more of them, and 115, there's not a lot of atom weights because there's not a lot of atom weight divisions outside of Invicta. I don't think any other promotion has atom weight in North America. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chad, but I don't think any other promotion in North America has atom weight for women other than Invicta.
I mean, Aisha, most definitely, because I don't think there's ever been I mean, outside of the UFC and Invicta, I don't think anybody's cared about the women's featherweight division more than Invicta, so to speak.
Yeah, so I don't know. I would like RIZIN to really invest in atomweight because I think that's where the talent is. I think that's where the fun shows are. And then any other grandmas who just want to, tag in if they're a name, then sure. Just like how they do with the young fights. But I think RIZIN, if there's any women's division that they should invest in, it's just atomweight, man. Because let's be honest, Deep Jewels is fun. Like what was the last one? 8 or out of 8 fights, 6 finishes. The 2 fights that weren't were absolute wars, but they were absolute wars between soccer moms. Like they weren't the highest level fight. They were just fun, bar scraps. But the standouts, atomweight. All the standouts were atomweight. All the most skills chicks, atomweight. So that's what I've identified as like that's the talent there right now. And like I love what Kubrick said. Yes, Machi, move down to atomweight, please. I think she had a really good performance, by the way. It was really good. She did everything but finish Salt. Salt was way more tough than I thought she was coming into this one. I thought she would have been armbarred, and let's be honest, her arm almost snapped at one point. But these women, man, they're Gumby. I swear to God.
I mean, what, you think they basically rubber to just try and ship themselves out the way?
There was this other woman, so I forget what card it was over the weekend. I want to say it was KSW or something. But dude, one chick's elbow almost popped out, and like she didn't tap.
Oh my God. Was it in Shudo colors or something?
No, it was not.
Damn.
Yo, Daniel, I would give anything for women's heavyweight. There's a league in, I want to say Alabama.
Oh, God.
There's a league in Alabama that Brian Battle in the UFC, he did commentary for. And Mac Truck, she's my favorite fighter, baby. 380 pounds of woman.
Oh, my God.
Love me some Mac. Love me to watch some Mac Truck. I gotta be careful here.
That is freaking awesome.
I'll link her fight in the chat here. I'll find it for you guys.
I don't even know what the fuck to say.
It was awesome. It was fucking awesome.
That sounds awesome. Hey, I disagree with Kubrick though. He said that women's JMMA sucks. No, it doesn't, bro.
Yeah, I disagree. It depends what you want. If you want like high level technical fights, then yeah, it's not super polished. But if you want better brawls than half the men in Deep, the Deep Jewels women, they deliver entertaining fights. Like they're scraps. They're not necessarily polished fights, right? But I would say that I would way rather watch women's Japanese MMA. I know I do versus North American women's MMA. All day, every day. Because they actually want to fight. They actually want to put on a performance. It may be sloppy as hell. Like I said, they're probably all soccer moms, or half of them anyways. The standouts stand out, and the other ones actually put on fights. So.
Some of them probably might be OnlyFans models.
No, but hey, there's been several Japanese women's champions in Invicta, and was it Hamasaki or who was the Invicta champion? Darn it.
Ayaka Hamasaki.
Yes, thank you. And then also Megumi Fujii, one of the greatest women's mixed martial arts all time.
I hate when people add the extra I to Fuji. I mean, it's Megumi Fuji, not Fuji.
Okay, let's just call her Megu Cat. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, but anyways, the point still remains. Japanese MMA women are some good fighters, and there's good fighters out there. And also, it's not just Invicta and UFC. We got this week on Thursday. Tomorrow, as of this recording, Combate Global is having an all-women's card. They do atomweight fights. They do strawweight fights. They do flyweight fights. I mean, they have, and they've also collaborated with RIZIN in the past and sent some women fighters over. Mm-hmm. So but I 100% agree with Aisha. I think that they should open up. If they're going to have women's divisions, they should really, bring them in, go all in. And atomweight is definitely one of the best divisions they got. That's where Striker Queen Reina is, and hopefully that is the super fight's going to happen on New Year's Eve. They're going to finally match up Striker Queen Reina with Izawa before she goes to the UFC, if she does. So that and Machi on this bout that we're talking about right now, great performance. All it needed was a finish, and she was calling for an opening of the strawweight division, and I say why not? Because that's a lot of talent is in the strawweight division worldwide. They just got to bring over some fighters, international fighters. So, and it's totally possible.
I see. But when it comes down to women's MMA, I just think they need a better job at promoting the fights because, how are we going to know who all is fighting? No, actually, I can't really ask how we know who all is fighting. We know who all is fighting. It's just a way of trying to find a way to watch it,
What do you mean? Just RIZIN TV is easy. Just start putting these shows on.
Or all women's MMA, because when it comes down to, Invicta, not everybody can get CBS Sports Network. When it comes down to Deep Jewels, not everybody is willing to plot down money for a YouTube subscription, a paid YouTube subscription to be a part
then
of.
They ain't real MMA fans. No, seriously.
Tell them, Aisha. Tell them.
Seriously.
Yeah,
you complain about $20 a month for how many fights? Come on.
Yeah, and plus, also to your point, Jay Krish, would make it more popular is if Deep Jewels had the actual deep rule set where they could do superior rule set strikes with the women. Unfortunately, Deep Jewels does not have the superior rule set, which to me is a problem. I mean, that look at how much more exciting it is in RIZIN with the women when they're allowed to do superior rule set. They even this one with Machi, just throwing grounded knees. And was this one of the ones where they had like where they're doing some grounded kicks, like when they were both locked up on the ground? They're doing some like kicks to the face to get out of like a leg lock attempt, something like that. Wasn't that one of the fights?
No, it was a good scrap. Yeah, Machi used the knees quite a bit too, which was good.
Absolutely. So that's what Deep Jewels needs to do. And also to your point, Jay Krish, about getting more visibility, they should do like what Feed was saying and join and make RIZIN.TV the Fight Pass of Asia. Bring in Deep Jewels, bring in all these promotions and have them available for Western international fans on RIZIN.TV to view. And you can still charge money for it or whatever, but that'll be a platform to where you can watch them. And and put that out there, and then have them all on the superior rule set so people really want to watch them. So I think that worked, no problem.
Right, of course. Especially considering the fact that some of these ladies, I bet, would probably be more visible stars if they were just given the opportunity to shine in front of the world rather than shine in front of just the Japanese fans.
Yeah, and look at Combate Global. The luscious Lucia Acosta, the La Loba is what they call her. She's got big old, bazookas and everything, and she's a good fighter, and just, dude, and she's one of their biggest stars, bro. And
isn't she a boxer by trade?
I think she is a boxing crossover. I have to look it up again. I don't remember right now off the top of my head live, but. She definitely she's got good striking. So.
Oh, and this is the fight that, you, Aisha, were talking about. Mackenzie Brooks, who you say is 308 pounds, correct?
The Mack truck, baby.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Mackenzie Brooks versus Skylar Witten. If you want to go check that fight out, it'll be in the description of this podcast episode or we'll just link it in the comments below for those watching on YouTube. But if you're watching or listening to this, it will be in the description of this podcast episode. But still, though, when it comes down to, potential in combat sports, we can talk about the heavyweight. No, damn it. Not the heavyweight division. Damn, dude. You basically scared me with that big woman. But point out of it,
don't fear the big women. Don't fear the big women, Jay Krish. They need love too.
Of course. But my little skinny ass will just be running like I'm seeing Godzilla or something.
Bro, I've been trying to get Mack Truck on the show for like months now. She's a hard. Ironically, she's a hard woman to find.
Good one. But still, though, enough talking about big people, and with all due respect, enough talking about women's MMA, even though there needs to be more talk about women's MMA, because if the WNBA can get love and showcase basketball.
Bro, I cover every Deep Jewels card. Every time there's Japanese women's MMA, I will be covering it on my channel.
Yeah. I mean, it's you and Robert Sargent that put this shit over for women's MMA. Y'all need to definitely get y'all flowers, just like the women fighting in this sport definitely need to get shown their just due. But when down to the men's bantamweight division in RIZIN, they definitely need a push. Well, actually, no. They're getting more of a push more than anything else because you got 3 fights on this card that was just basically balls to the wall excitement. You had Joji Goto, who didn't show off his twister submission, defeating Jinosuke Kashimura via unanimous decision after 3 5-minute rounds. Keep in mind, this was Kashimura's RIZIN debut. You had Taichi Nakajima knocking out Kosuke Koro Terashima via TKO, 1 minute 17 seconds, knocking out Mr. Seiki Izawa via punches and stuff like that. Basically knocking his record down past the point of 500. And you got Tatsuya Ando making his RIZIN debut, choking out Magaram Gasanzade 3 minutes, 33 seconds of round number 1 via rear naked choke. I mean, come to think of it, when you look at the RIZIN bantamweight division now, especially considering the fact that Naoki Inoue is going to be fighting for the RIZIN bantamweight title, defending his RIZIN bantamweight title at Super RIZIN next month, do you think that these 3 fights pretty much, sealed the domestic order for Japanese bantamweights?
I think so, and in very impressive fashion. I think like a lot of people had Kashimura, especially Kashimura came in as like a slight underdog, and they're like, oh, he's gonna come in, he's gonna grab that ankle, he's gonna use his jiu-jitsu. Bro, Joji Goto made him wish he was in a gi. You wish you were in a jiu-jitsu match right now. What an amazing performance by Goto. It was awesome, and like it was just such a good game plan because like he wasn't scared to go to the ground with him, and at points in the fight he did employ like dominance on the ground. He just was very selective of what positions I'm going to go into because he was conscious of the sweeps. He was conscious of the ways that that his opponent could submit him, and tremendous takedown defense, beat him up on the feet. That was such a great performance by Goto. I mean, everybody knew Nakajima was going to knock out Koro, and he did. Beautiful stuff. I mean, there's not much more to say on it. That was probably the most given outcome of the card. Ando, though, man, A, got to give him all the praise. He looked great. B, get Magaram the fuck out of RIZIN, bro, because he is the ugly stepchild of that camp. He is awful. First round, okay.
I mean,
like I saw like some striking, a little grappling. Does he only have 5 minutes of cardio? Dude, it either seemed like he was gassed or defeated after the first round, and the first round was like pretty back and forth. Yeah, he looked awful in that fight.
Fair. Are you saying that Magaram Gasanzade should spend more or less time with his teammates over in Baku?
It's not working, so maybe I think it's less about his team and more just like him.
Keep in mind, the dude's 11-2 overall. Do you really think that he would probably do better somewhere else?
No, I don't think his camp has anything. I mean, I don't know much about his like that camp personally, other than like I'm familiar with the fighters. I don't know like what type of equipment they have, how big their facility is, who their coaches are. I don't know any of that. What I do know is the rest of them fight like killers, and he fights like I got 5 minutes in me and then I'm done. And it was on display in that last fight. And again, I got to give credit where credit is due. Ando looked great, but like, and I didn't think Gasanzade was going to walk all over. I picked him to win by smother win, by how most of us, I think, thought he was going to win. But Jay Wolf and I talked about it on the show. Like, Ando is damn good. Like, he was no pushover. This was actually one of the most, like, again, on paper, like a really even matchup. Like this wasn't no Unk versus Unk. This wasn't no let's throw that Chinese kid to get absolutely slaughtered, right? Like this was a great matchup by the matchmakers, and wow, just disappointed.
Jay, what are your thoughts about the Gasanzade Ando fight, and in particular the other 2 bantamweight bouts that took place on this fight?
Well, I mean, I thought that the Gasanzade Ando fight was sensational. That was the biggest upset of the night. Everybody thought Gasanzade was going to win, and the Japanese fans absolutely loved it. And it was a huge pop for Ando when he scored the upset finish. He was. I mean, we didn't even think. I mean, the odds the betting odds were very lopsided in favor of Gazanzadeh. Like we said on the City Life Project and on the Focus Fights preview, both preview shows, everybody thought Gazanzadeh was going to win, beat by wrestling, ground and pound submission for whatever. They just thought he had it in the bag. Even the odds makers had him in the bag. So that was a huge upset for Ando. Just impressive performance, and the Japanese fans absolutely loved it. And it was a finish too. He actually choked. He didn't just decision him. He actually finished him for the upset.
Beat him with his own move.
Exactly, dude. So it was super impressive. Very impressed by Ando, and very happy for the Japanese fans on that one. And then got to go back to the Joji Goto versus Kashimura bout. That was, to me, that was one of the fights of the night. And we were thinking it was going to be a grappler's delight going into the bout, right? Between two sensational grapplers. And there was points in that bout where it was fantastic grappling. But I think there was the birth of a new mythical fighter. And we keep giving all the moniker of the K1 striker fighter, mythical fighters. So this one I'm going to go with the new mythical fighter, Rise striker, Joji Goto, was born in this one. So it was just, like Aisha was saying, fantastic performance by Joji Goto. And also Kashimura, because it takes two to tango. It takes two to make a great fight. So to me, that was one of the fights of the night, and very impressive by Joji Goto. And what was the other one? I forget what the other one is right now.
It was Nakajima knocking out Mr. Seika Izawa. Koro.
Oh, yeah. That was great.
We all knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, but we knew that was going to happen. Yeah, right. But
was that 2 straight knockouts for Nakajima too? Because I think he knocked someone out on deep recently with a beautiful hook as well.
Nice.
Yeah, let me go ahead and check and see if that is the case, because you might be right about that, Aisha. And yeah, that is correct. He knocked out Hiroyuki Hulk Oshiro at Deep Tokyo Impact back on April 13th, and then knocked out Koro here.
So, like, hasn't taken much damage at all, other than probably a sore, well, I guess his left hook, other than a sore left hand?
I guess so.
Nice.
I love how he's kind of back in contention, because like Nakajima's only fought killers, right? So like his record may not be anything special, and sure, there's some can losses in there, just like every Asian fighter, not just Japan, everywhere, China, Korea, like there's all like, wait, you beat all these guys that you lost to that 0-3? What happened? Anyways, again, sometimes the strength of schedule is pretty crazy. Look at Sujio Kim, right? But no, I'm excited that he's back in title contention now that we're gonna see him in some more high level fights, no Koro level fights. Let's see him against some of the big dogs again, because he's no spring chicken, right? He's mid late 30s, 36, 37. Like he's got a few more fights left in him. He did beat Dan Ige. He beats his resume is actually really fun if you guys put the magnifying glass on it. So like I said, I'm just so happy to see him back. Win or lose his next fights, it's gonna be against tough opponents, and I think like he's game. He's game. He always has been.
I see. Well, in the case of who's RIZIN worthy and who is not, I mean, I guess we can all simply say without a shadow of a doubt that Ando is definitely RIZIN worthy.
Oh yeah. After that performance, 100%. Matter of fact, dude, we got the bantamweight title being defended at Super RIZIN 4 coming up in a month and a half, right? Mm-hmm. I think some of the winners right here, however you want to do it, with Ando or Nakajima or Joji Goto, whatever you want to do, maybe do it like match them both up and get another guy, so you have 2 title contender bouts and just take the best, like we were saying to do with this one with the featherweight division, and taking the, if the main event didn't deliver, then you had these other 2 guys like Nazimov and Kolesnik, and whoever had the best performance between them, plug them into the title shot. Do the same thing with bantamweight. Since it's being defended at Super RIZIN 4, and then these 3 winners right here. Well, there we go. Kubrick just said it. Nakajima versus Ando for the next contender. You can do that one. You can also have Joji Goto versus another fantastic bantamweight fighter. And then whoever puts on the best performance, and in their next bout, have it on the same card. And then whoever does the best performance, then they can challenge for the title on, say, New Year's Eve or something.
I like that.
I like that idea too. But as far as the losers, I mean, it's pretty damn obvious which one is the least RIZIN worthy, and that would be Gasanzade, right, Aisha?
Yeah, I mean, unless he wants to fight lower end of the totem pole, which is he really gonna get anywhere with this promotion, right? If he doesn't fight top guys. So I can see one more fight before he's in friggin' Octagon with a C again. You know what I mean?
I mean, Octagon with a C. I thought you meant Octagon with a K.
Octagon with a C tends to sign the caucus guys pretty easily. That one's out of Kazakhstan. I mean, shit, if Octagon with a K signs him, then good for him, right? I mean, they signed freaking the Finnish guy who was getting knocked out left, right, and center in the UFC, and he fizzled out pretty quickly too. But
I think you mean Makwan Amirkhani, right?
That's the one. That's the one. The goat of the Tapology pictures.
Mm-hmm. Of course, Mr. Finland himself.
Yeah.
Still, though, when it comes down to the bantamweight possibilities, I can definitely see, Nakajima versus Ando for a possible future contendership. And Kubrick is also saying Cobra will get more chances since he's the husband of Seika Izawa.
Yeah, naturally. There's nothing wrong with that. So, but give them all another chance. I don't like just kicking them out just because they lost to good fighters. So
I'm not saying kick him out. I'm just saying, like, okay, now, like, if there was pressure in this one, there's pressure in the next one. Because, like, even if they don't kick him out, Jay, if they just give him, like, easy matchups, his stock's not going to go up. Mm-hmm. Right? It's just so
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, he needs the pressure's on is all I'm saying now.
Yeah,
because we were critical of him going into this one, and he lost. He didn't win in boring fashion. He lost, right? So it's like, okay, you have to win and also show that you deserve to be here in the next one.
Absolutely. And you can match the losers up against each other, and then sort of like the loser gets sent back down to deep or something like that, right? And the winner gets to stay. And so I think I should do that for like Gasanzade.
Could you imagine Gasanzade on a deep card in like one of the university cafeterias? Oh my god. Getting paid 100 yen.
You're right. He'd probably go back to Octagon with the C or Octagon with the K, whatever. And
did he even fight? Like, where was he? Where the heck did he fight before? He fought AMC before. Okay, Neza. Neza's the other Kazakhstani league. I like Octagon more personally, but Alash Pride, Neza, they're all fine. They're all fine.
Yeah. So if he doesn't get another win in his next bout, sure, send him back down to the regionals, and then if he gets some wins, racks up some wins, then bring him back. So that's how I feel with all the people that lost.
And the last fight that we will tend to give a damn about, Reiki strong arm in Zashibading via decision. Now, Aisha, you had some issues about this particular fight because you had a Chinese prospect who, oh, by the way, this was the first time a Chinese fighter has fought in the RIZIN Fighting Federation since Yang Ming back on the second New Year's Eve show in 2015. But still, though, point of the matter is Reiki Endo just dominated, and you had a problem with this fight.
Well, I mean, put it this way. I had no idea who this Chinese kid was. I don't think anybody knew who this Chinese kid was. And I probably looked harder for tape than anybody. And I found some, okay? So I went off what I saw and went, there must be a reason why they brought this guy in, because it's not like RIZIN's trying to put Endo over right now. Was Endo even... Endo, okay, yeah, so he was a Sapporo guy, so...
It's because of the fact probably that Zashibading was from Inner Mongolia, or at least from what Michael Schiavello was gawking about him. The dude was, the Tibetan eagle or something. He has a really easy to pronounce surname, Ningzhui, but still, though.
Right. I knew Endo was from Sapporo. I didn't think RIZIN would want to put him over, so I thought they brought in someone who was like at least okay, right? Mm-hmm. Endo went in there like he wanted to kill somebody. He was completely outclassed. And furthermore, Endo, where the fuck has this been? What the last like the Nakamura fight, whatever, dude. Like in Pancrase Blood, that was an okay fight, but like what other than that, he was like 1-5 in his last 6 in like the most boring unanimous decision losses, and then comes out here and tries to literally like near murder this kid. So I was completely off on this one. I was like, this is a coin flip because like if we're gonna see the same Endo, yeah, he might wrestle fuck this guy. But if this guy actually has some talent and can get it at range, okay, maybe he can outstrike him. I don't know. From what I saw, it looked like he could strike, but that was literally like 3 clips off Instagram. Endo came out and was just like, I got the home crowd behind me, and I am going to dismantle and dismember this young man. And holy crap, this kid, like, I don't know how old he is now, but like he has at least 5 years shaved off his life.
Well, Zashi Bading is 25.
Yeah.
But you could probably think he was getting his ass whooped by, like a young.
He's now 40 in fight years after that, and he's 1-2.
But still, though, point of the matter is, Endo is 1-1 in RIZIN, even though Kubrick is basically saying the fight was ass and another mismatch.
Oh, it was incredibly. It was a mismatch. It was fun if you like one-way beatdowns. And I was impressed and surprised. I was like, what the fuck? Where does this Endo come from? This is not what Endo's been doing. But it just showed how much of a mismatch it was, given that Endo could play with his food. And in, again, 5 of the last 6 fights Endo's been in, he's been the one that his opponents have been playing with, right? So,
and then we got to mention another thing about this bout, that the blood. I was so happy that they didn't stop this bout and they let him bleed. Dude, he was leaving pools of blood on the mat, dude.
You know what, Jay? I think Michael Schiavello played it best when he was making that Red Cross joke again.
No, but I absolutely loved it.
Someone called the Red Cross. Zashi Bading's got a donation to make.
That was a great
He's drowning him in a pool of his own blood.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah,
I absolutely
it was good.
loved it. And it shows the growth of the Japanese and because like you're saying with the fight.
Well, I don't know about that, Jay. Well, this was an experienced guy against a guy we had no idea who he was. It showed. He was an absolute, like, you could have fucking probably beat him.
No, I'm talking about with the blood. Well, of course I'm.
With the blood. Okay, with the blood, yes.
I'm a heavyweight. I would have beat his ass. I would have done a walrus technique and just jumped on him and smashed him. But anyways,
I walk around at 175 pounds last I checked. Could easily trim down to 155 and knock that motherfucker out.
And I believed in the poor Chinese kid.
No, I was talking about with the blood. That's how the Japanese have grown, because like you were saying with the heavyweight Grand Prix match and how tough Aonala was and how they did not stop it, how 5 years ago it would have been over. They would have
even in the Gustavo fight, they would have stopped it earlier. They wouldn't have let him gone out one more time, right?
Right, exactly. And we just saw with Chihiro, he got in the Mikuru fight, because his cut was over the eye. That's why they stopped that one. It was like a Grand Canyon cut over the eye, and that's what. But this one with Endo and Zashi Bading, I mean, this kid was bleeding all over the place, massive cuts, and they let it keep going. And
if he was Japanese, though, if he was Japanese, would that? Everyone keeps asking me that. If he was Japanese, would they have let it keep going? Was it because he was an international fighter and a Japanese guy was beating his ass in front of his home crowd? You think that was maybe a little bit? I got to be a little bit of the devil's advocate, right?
No, because when this first started with them toughening up on the blood and not stopping it, was actually, believe it or not, a women's match. And I forget what the women's fighters were called, but it was between 2 Japanese women.
Okay.
And I just remember that I should remember the names of them. Darn it, but I've forgotten in this.
I have noticed in the last like 3 years, they've gotten a lot better. Yes. Right? Like half of these matches 5 years ago would have been stopped.
Yeah, I mean, dude,
it would have been like Pride.
They were stopping for just little tiny cuts, and then a guy with a broken nose or whatever. They were stopping. It's like, dude, come on, you cannot be stopping fights for that. And to their credit, they have toughened up a lot. And this is one of those fights where it just really showed that they are finally toughening up and letting the fights go and letting them bleed and letting them decorate the mat with a nice, decorating that nice white mat was some fantastic. Dude, the red blood on the white mat just popped the whole show. I kept noticing every time they go to that and whoever that logo was just loving it because it just brought your eyes right down. I just love the way the blood looks on the white mat, but just fantastic to see them. That's why was it you that was saying that they need to rekindle their collaboration with Bare Knuckle, because that was, you know, when the Bare Knuckles were having their fights in the Epic Rising, you know, that's
Feldman doesn't give a fuck about anything but himself. So like, I think that Barra probably just like, screw this guy, he's so hard to work with, and screw this promotion.
I hope not, because
dude, like I was saying this before we recorded. I've given so much money to BKFC as a customer. I will never monetarily support them again. Worst customer service. It's just they are not a good company. Now, I support the fighters and I love the collaborations and I want to see the bare knuckle sport grow. Like, I'm gonna go and watch the Ice Wars thing after, but I'm done dealing and supporting monetarily that corrupt ass fucking organization.
Yeah, man, that's a shame to hear that they've done that. Like, you know, how Shatri sits on Dong has just ruined, you know. Dude,
Feldman's making Shatri, who's literally holding MMA fighters in his own little prison in his basement. Feldman's making Shatri look like a saint.
And that's hard to
literally holding MMA fighters ball and chain in his basement. Shout out to Quan Wan Il. I hope he gets freed.
Yeah, it just, man. No, hey, Kubrick.
It's not even that, Kubrick. It's not even that. And like that could have happened. They didn't even go down the road far enough to even know if that would have happened or not. They gave such a little fuck, dude. It's insane. Like, I was talking to so many people, and because I was the one waving the flag, right? But yeah, we don't have to go too far in the weeds here. But like
the BKFC fights in RIZIN, they had blood. They had cuts.
Dude, Feldman didn't even watch them, Jay Wolf. He didn't even watch them, dude. Let's be perfectly honest. He did not give a fuck. The only reason he did this was to get a meeting with Dana White and to get BKFC again on the MMA Hour. That is the only reason that this happened.
Well, you know, hopefully it's not, and the hopefully the collaboration, because I think that directly contributed to the Japanese toughening up about blood.
I hope so. And I loved it.
Fights. Remember in the women's belt when dude, it like rearranged the girl's nose.
IMB versus Teresa Sagala.
Yes.
And Dodson's fight was awesome. Like I said, I love the product. I love the fighters. And I'll gladly become a subscriber to a different, like maybe a BKB now. But that organization, dude, I will not, you know, I will support the fighters, but I will not monetarily support anymore.
Is it because the fact they kissed too much of Conor McGregor's ass?
Well, yeah, he's funding the whole thing now, so.
Well, who knows anymore?
Well, I said, dude, so the Ice Wars was supposed to be on Friday or Saturday, right? Their new BKFC's new product. They bought an organization called Ice Wars that I actually did some work with and knows the people who've been running it. I even went to the first event in 1998 in Northern Canada. So like, this is my jam. BKFC bought it. I was like, awesome. They're going to have it in its own lane, whatever. And oops, we double booked on Saturday, the inaugural show of Ice Wars, Battle of the Borders, all Canadian one side, all American on the other side. Oops, we're going to tape delay this one because we can't broadcast two shows at once. We have a big show on Saturday. So we're going to do tape delay 4 or 5 days later. Like, what a slap in the face to the athletes who are, you know, making nothing to compete in this. And now they're going to get like no notoriety, right? It's just,
come to think of it, you could basically say they got slap shotted.
Yeah.
Replace the slap shot with what am I trying to say? Replace the hockey stick with a dick, and they basically got slap shotted.
Yeah. It's on right now, and I'm going to watch it after because, like, I know some of the fighters who are competing. I know some of the journalists who are, like, covering it, right? And are really trying to help it grow. The matchmaker was the former general manager of the Danbury Trashers, who was a mob-owned money laundering organization. So there's just a lot of history and cool storylines, but BKFC, of course, has to
Well, dude, hey, Kubrick, stop hating. Is that Drew's burner account? Because they did not make even close to the amount of mismatches that PFL does with their girl Dakota Dacheva. Her entire tournament that they did with her.
She fought Santos. She fought
mismatches.
Santos was a good matchup, and
that was the final. That was the final. But every
right.
bout until the final against Santos was a mismatch the entire way. Totally obvious.
And also, this RIZIN is not like, and I feel like this is kind of like the blessing and the curse of RIZIN. It's like with the proper mismatching, the fights are freak show and they're fun. But when they're like trying to be serious and they make mismatches like the one we were just talking about, that's where it's just like some poor 25-year-old got murdered for Sapporo's entertainment. Which whatever.
That was just the Sapporo guy. They wanted to get him a win. And they put it in a.
I will say, and RIZIN's my favorite organization. I'll be the first one to say that they probably still hold the crown of mismatches. BKFC, yes, because like they literally their roster are guys they pay at the top, and then people who literally like sign up and try out, right? I'm not even kidding. Like it's true.
What you're saying, Aisha, is basically BKFC is a bunch of tough men competitors. And a bunch of guys who just want one more shot at fight.
I will say half of it are old fighters or established BKFC guys now, and the other half are are that.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially one more shot at glory. I mean, obviously, why do you think Austin Trout's the welterweight champion over there?
Well, I mean, they put him up against poor Diego Sanchez.
Oh yeah, of course.
That was sad. That was hard to watch.
Mm-hmm. But
yeah, I cannot stand Hiroya, dude. I cannot stand him. I think he's awful, and I was so angry that he won in his last fight.
Well, he's one of the stars for Japan. That's why the crowd in Japan
the women love him.
Love him. But still, though, now that we officially got off of talking about RIZIN Landmark 11, which we will give our summary after we talk about this, let's talk about real quick the RIZIN Flyweight Grand Prix, which the 8 competitors have just been announced for this tournament. That'll be starting at Super RIZIN 4 next month. And I gotta say, half of the field is like the who gets Kyoji Horiguchi. Half the field is the who gets Kyoji Horiguchi sloppy seconds tournament. And the other half of the field is like the 94 and 95 Rockets. They're just trying to take advantage of a great team's slot by basically taking what's left. I mean,
dude, I think we're all disappointed that it's not 16-man. It's only 8-man, which means that they're not going to have a one-night Grand Prix final, like the almighty Pride FC used to do, and RIZIN used to do when they started. I don't know why they're going away from it. That, and what we're talking about is where the semifinals and finals on the same night, and that's how they used to do all their Grand Prix. And I don't know why they're getting away from that, but hopefully we'll see. I'm just happy the Grand Prix is back. Maybe next year they'll do some more and it'll be back to normal. But it's just disappointing. They had so many. They signed like Aisha, your boy, your Canuck, Laramie. They signed all these good international guys, and they don't put them in this flyweight Grand Prix.
Yeah, I got to talk to him. I know, like, I don't have direct communication with him, but I have communication with like his team. So I want to ask about that. I think he wants to fight at 135. Now that's me. Like, I think he wants, unlike his brother TJ, who by the way is totally UFC level. I don't know why the fuck the UFC won't just bring him up. It makes no sense. But anyway, sidetrack there. Tony, he blows up outside of camp. Like I don't think he walks around at Paddy Pimblett 200, but like he definitely he's got a pudgy face, right? And he was cornering who was he? He was cornering one of his teammates recently at a show in Canada, and I was like, no way that's Tony. And I was like, oh my god, he's huge. So maybe he just doesn't want to cut.
Ontario?
Yeah, Ontario, baby.
I see. So still though, you're saying, I mean, it's pretty obvious, and I'm going to run down the list of competitors who are in this tournament now. The 4 guys who have faced off against Kyoji Horiguchi before: Hiromasa Ogikubo, the 2022 Japan Bantamweight Tournament winner; Unkazi Mulo Zulu, the EFC Africa star; Yuki Motoya, the 2-division deep champion who fought Kyoji all the way back in 2017, and Makoto Shinryu Takahashi, who fought Kyoji Horiguchi twice over the course of the last few years. Then the non-I beat or faced Kyoji competitors: Ersin Badman Yamamoto, Alibek Gazmatov, Hiroya Kondo, who somebody on this panel hates, and Yuki Motoya, because of the fact that he enters the ring to probably my favorite J-pop artist of all time, and that being the legendary Hikaru Utada. But still, though, about his fighting skill, he is just a banger. But still, though, when it comes down to the 8 men in this tournament, only 2 of them are outside of Japan. You got Ali Beck, who's Russian. You got Zulu, who fought Kyoji at RIZIN 49 back on New Year's Eve. He is from South Africa. But when it comes down to the fact that we got a lack of international competitors, you just mentioned TJ Laramie. I'll go ahead and throw another one on the Barbie, and that being Jose Shorty Torres, who legitimately said on Twitter that he has something put with Brave CF coming up soon. I mean, do you think that the lack of international talent for this Grand Prix is really starting to show in the fact that RIZIN can't get fighters from outside of Japan over, at least for this?
No, dude, they already have them signed on the roster. You're forgetting about Bon Torin as well. I mean, there's all different types of international flyweight fighters. Dotson, all these guys are on the roster already. What it is they want a Japanese fighter to win this flyweight Grand Prix. That's what it is. That's what it comes down to. That's all it is. So,
yeah.
So let's hope Motoya fucking takes it, boys. Let's go. Let's go.
Yes. And speaking of Montoya,
break a horn much, dude.
Yeah. Sorry, I destroyed your guys' ears.
It's
no,
okay.
but hey, Montoya, it was annoying that he was the surprise announcement. They were hyping it up like they were gonna have Mokaev. You know, they're gonna have him come jump in the tournament or something. But the big surprise was that it was Motoya. I mean, it's just, dude, man, I was just so disappointed. And Kubrick, Bon Torin, okay, whatever. The point of the matter is, I'm just using him as an example, buddy, is that, or brother, is that he was an international fighter on the Epic RIZIN roster in the flyweight division. There's other guys besides Bon Torin on there. I was just throwing the guys out from memory off the top of my head.
I'm disappointed it's not 16 men, because I think if it was 16 men, we'd obviously have at least 4 to 5 more international fighters that they would have signed directly for this. Shorty Torres was just in a title fight, or a title eliminator fight 2 weeks ago, and he was promised Mokaev if he won. A Kyrgyzstani or Kazakhstan guy beat him. So I'm not sure if Brave was just like, okay, we have plans for Shorty after this, so we're not even going to entertain this. Having said that, apparently Shorty didn't even get the invite. So I'm less concerned with his invite. I think if it was a 16-man, he probably would have been invited. Absolutely. And I agree with what J. Will said too. They want a Japanese guy. Damn
it. I'm pretty sure that was the same thing for John Dotson as well, because yeah, he's the BKFC flyweight champion, but I think ever since he had those last couple of fights in RIZIN, and I think he last lost to, damn it, was it against Yuki Ito? I'm not sure, but still, though, let me see here. John Dotson, BKFC flyweight champion. He last lost to Takaki Soya, and he's not in this damn tournament either. It kind of makes you think, yeah, if it was a 16-man tournament, those would be 3 guys, Laramie, Soya, and Dotson, that would even be a part of this tournament. But
100%. To me, honestly, it looks like they're trying to force Shinryu to win this tournament. That's what it looks like to me. Shinryu or another Japanese star to.
Well, and you know what? I'm okay with it as long as they either give us another one sooner than later, or okay, now that we know who is actually king, no more fucking musical chairs between Ogi Kubo and Shinryu, and just A, these fights that we've already seen, and B, like you said, Kyoji sloppy seconds. Let's get someone established, and let's get the good fights we want to see in the division moving forward outside of a Grand Prix. Or, okay, if this Grand Prix is successful and there's more of an appetite for it again, let's ramp it up in a year and a half, really scout, and then do like 2 fights in one night down the road.
Exactly.
Yes.
And I mean, come to think of it, let's just say if Yuki Motoya if either Yuki Motoya or Hiromasa Okikubo will have a successful run, I mean, this could be their last shot at becoming great fighters, you know?
And that's probably what part of the motivation is for making only an 8-man. And that's why they're in part of the only 8-men that are in the field, is to give them another chance, one last shot at glory. So,
but what it will show is how much of a bum Hiroya is compared to the rest.
And you said it. If Hiroya Kondo wins, I'm a crash out on stream worse than need.
Why are you such a player hater, Aisha? Don't hate the player, hate the game.
If he was consistent, I'd give him all the praise in the world. It's just like, okay, just when I'm like, okay, I know what this fighter is now, he starts getting wins, and it's like, what are you, dude? What are you, good? Are you bad? I don't get it. It just drives me nuts.
But the point of the matter is the tournament starts at Super RIZIN 4 coming up on July.
Yes.
And we got a whole month to basically prepare our asses for that.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. It's not only the flyweight Grand Prix opening round, it's also the heavyweight Grand Prix semifinals are supposed to be on there as well. And we got a bunch of title fights on there. Makiru versus Kleber. Is also the headline, the name headliner, because Makiri is the biggest superstar in Japan right now.
Yeah, but it's also a rematch from 4 years ago, dude.
Yeah, and the winner.
Yaman is back, baby.
Exactly. Yeah, Yaman is back.
Akimoto taking the biggest step up in competition he has yet in his career.
Yeah, it's just going to be an absolute.
Patricki's on the card.
Dude, and they're not even done announcing fights for the card.
I know there's only like there's only like 6 or 7 fights announced right now. So
it's 7 fights. It could easily go to 11 with the flyweight Grand Prix. It could easily possibly go to 15, maybe 20. And I know
go 20, make it even 20, baby. Let's go. Let's freaking go. Put some more big fights on there. All the Grand Prix fights on there. Man, it's going to be sensational. I love it.
Though, we'll be waiting to see what comes up. Now, as far as what transpired off of this card, RIZIN Landmark 11 that we just got done talking about, and, Kubrick is asking, how do you guys feel about the guys who lost their last match in the tournament or fight card?
Yeah, we said that earlier, Kubrick. Remember, we were saying match the losers up, and then it's like a loser leaves town match, basically. And the winner, like Gazan. Remember we were talking about Gazanzadeh, how he got choked out, and Aisha was saying to get him out of the league, send him back to Octagon with a C or whatever. And we were saying match him up with another loser, and whoever loses that match, then they can go down to the regionals, and the winner of that match gets to stay in RIZIN. That's what we're saying to do with the losers.
Of course.
Can we just say, like, I've never thought I'd say this, but like I cannot wait for Takashi Noto's next fight.
Sorry, at the flyweight tournament.
Oh well, dude, we got to see what happens with. Wait, are you saying you want us to kick the losers of the flyweight tournament out? No way. Unless they're like the old men that are going to retire, like Oji Kubo or whatever, if he loses. But the other ones.
He's asking like, what do we think about the fighters who are coming off losses but were invited to the Grand Prix?
I see. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, they lost in sensational fashion. Ito and Zulu, both of them put on great performances in their losses.
I agree. I think it's warranted of an invite. Like it's. I think if RIZIN wasn't interested in them, they would have pushed for a Laramie over Zulu, or would have really tried to bring somebody else in. I think they were happy with his performance enough. I mean, shoot, man. I know everyone's knocking down Kyoji these days. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen in the UFC. But like that was one of the best versions of Zulu I've ever seen. Maybe it was one of the worst versions of Kyoji we've ever seen too, because you never know. But I don't mind that one. Kondo's there because we know the reason already. and Ito. I don't know if Ito deserves to be there. I'll agree. I don't know if Ito deserves to be there.
Well,
I'd say if they had another international option or even just a better Japanese fighter option, I would say replace Ito. But I like Zulu being there.
Well, Ito is pretty popular in Japan, especially with the fans. So I'm guessing that's why they put him in there.
They could have the deep fly. No, I love this. They could have, though, called up champions who are deserving, a little bit more deserving than that of an Ito. Again, Zulu, I have no issue with. He's been ripping it up in multi-time champion and EFC before he brought over. And I think like they maybe want a little bit of that market too, because friggin' South Africa is just buzzing right now. So again, that one I'm fine with. But no, I agree. They should have brought someone from Pancrase or Deep Up for sure. And I think Ito is the one that would probably, in my opinion, would be the one to replace. Well, I mean, Kondo, but
and you know, if it was a 16, it's another reason why if it was a 16-man Grand Prix, nobody would have cared. They would have said, "Oh, okay, it's fine."
Well, I think RIZIN's just gauging the new audience's appetite for Grand Prix, which is why they're dipping their toes in. Which I don't know if it's the best idea though, because like you didn't make a splash with the heavyweights, funny enough. And now they're trying with the little guys. So we'll see.
We'll see. The heavyweight is still going, and you know the Grand Prix before were pretty popular. I mean, especially when they were the real deal Holyfield with the one-night Grand Prix finals. Yeah,
dude, I was so disappointed to find out that the Deep Impact Grand Prix wasn't. They advertised it as a 2-night or a 1-night final, and then they separated them to three separate cards, right? Semis.
I don't understand why they're doing that. Why are they messing with a successful formula?
Yeah. I mean, Kubrick said they're also not going to do it the same night because Kai lost on Cuba on the same night.
But you know
they'll do it, Kubrick, until it's Shinryu Ogikubo again, and they'll be like, oh shit, no, we need Shinryu to win.
Right, of course. But
seriously, guys, we have to throw some love to. I know you guys keep wanting to ignore it. The Noto and Narita fight, the battle of the Unks that everyone was saying was going to be the bathroom break, turned out to be one of the most fun fights on the card. It was 2 rounds. I didn't want it to end. It was and Narita was the favorite coming into that one. I actually found tape on Narita, and like he was more of a grappling heavy. Again, not the most exciting fighter, but a pressure fighter who's going to pin you to the ground, land some shots to the body. Dude, Noto. They just beat the shit out of each other for 2 rounds, and Noto did more damage. Dude, I'm so fucking proud of him, man. 41 years of age, still not even really sniffing 500. But what is he? He's 7-9 now on a 2-fight win streak, baby. Let's go.
Actually, according to Tapology, but still, though, that was a prelim fight.
Dude, it was awesome. It was so awesome. I thought it would like the prelims got me so stoked for the card, and that's why I was so at the top of the show. So critical of like the momentum killer that we had between the prelims and the card getting set.
Yeah, no more 40-minute intermissions. I mean, either book more fights for the prelims or start it later or start it closer to the main card fight time. And if it goes over, it goes over.
Yeah, of course. And Kubrick is asking, how do you guys feel about the prelim guys who won't be elevated to main card status for the next? Because let's face it, this Noto Narita fight was in the rare unicorn weight divisions for RIZIN, 170 pounds, 77 kilos.
Because they're too old to cut weight.
But about the prelim fights that we are supposed to care about?
I don't get why you guys are supposed to be the RIZIN guys, and here I am carrying and waving the flag for the prelim.
No, I'm the one.
I go to LFA events in Minnesota, and I myself and the family members are there to watch the amateurs. I'm like the only one who shows up for like I don't even know who these guys are. I show up 4 hours before the prelims for the amateur fight, so maybe I'm the psycho one. I don't know.
No, you're the hardest of the hardcore, Aisha. You're great. But no, I love the prelims as well, especially Superior Rule set that we saw in the prelims. But it's the kick ones, the kick bouts, and those are the prelims where it's like, but whatever. If people are having fun with them, that's fine. But I only really care about the mixed martial arts ones.
Yeah. So Cooper gets a good point here. Yeah, it's unless they're like names in RIZIN now, or guys who are like regulars, even I'll say like 2+ fights in RIZIN who go up and down and deep, because like Nakajima will go to deep to get some reps or compete in their Grand Prix. There's a few other guys who will as well, who will go down just like, hey, I mean, even Shinryu went back down to deep for a fight to just keep himself fresh. I believe after the Kyoji loss. So unless it's those guys, you're right. We don't see a lot of call-ups these days, which is unfortunate. And I hope that the more tournaments, even the Impact tournaments and the Impact seasons, and the more Grand Prix that Deep is going to start to, because Deep's buzzing right now. I don't know how many international people are buying their YouTube channel or if it's just me, but they got some money to spend because they've been putting on some really good shows and pretty consistent shows this year and last year in particular. And I really hope that RIZIN starts to pluck from at least the top guys there. I'll just draw from Deep in particular because I watch more Deep than Pancrase. And I know RIZIN has a better relationship with Deep. I hope they start plucking from the top of Deep versus, you know, just relying on regional uncles. Now, as much as I love that last fight, you know, it'd be great to see the next step. And it's like, and if it doesn't work out, bro, you got Deep in your backyard again, or you got options at this point, right?
And you know, they're probably going to start doing that because also remember, they're also running the Koshian tournaments. That's where they found Rice Ball Kid, who was another up and coming star.
Yeah, but but he's off amateur. I'm talking like Deep has pros fighting, like, and you know, because that was an amateur tournament, which, yeah, I'm down for them to develop some guys. But what I'm saying is, like, why can't they call up Deep champions? You know what I mean? Like they go for lesser opponents. They sign and bring on lesser opponents sometimes, and it's, I think, where Kubrick is bringing on their cards for these random mismatches versus the deserving guys who are blood, sweat, and tears and Deep waiting for that call up.
Okay, well, I can see that, and also you're talking about these prelim fighters being moved up to the main card as well. You know, if they put on a good performance, I could see that, and I'm 100% agreeing with Aisha. Call up the good Deep fighters over, you know, but again, if you're talking about the Endo fight, that was because he was a Sapporo fighter. He was a hometown fighter, and they wanted to make the hometown crowd happy with that.
Clearly.
Fight. So that's what that is about.
Well, Kubrick, unfortunately, it seems like it's getting political in Japan, where it's, if you're not from breaking down, RIZIN ain't interested in making you a star.
Yeah, of course, but still,
I mean, I hate to say it, guys, but like, I'm kind of looking forward to when the Asakuras aren't what Sakikibara just like bends over to. You know what I mean?
Well, that's coming soon. That's what the Koshian tournaments are for, in my opinion. They already found the Rice Ball Kid. There's going to be some more. There's 3 more Koshian tournaments happening this year. So, I mean, that's clearly how they want to build up or find new talent.
Because Akimoto was one of the rare ones. Akimoto was one of the rare ones who like developed at every step, and they were like, okay, we're gonna invest in this kid early. But like, yeah, like Kubrick says, like, he went right to the main card, right? Guys, he said guys on prelims have never been elevated, which is crazy.
Well, are you sure that never? I don't know about that, but I'm sure that won't be the case forever. If that is true, it won't be the case forever. If you put on a good enough performance in the prelims, they're gonna call you up 100%. So, I mean, that's what you just got to tell them to fight harder, get better finishes, use superior rule set, make yourself stand out. I mean, that's how Akimoto really, I mean, his first debut fight on the big stage, was he a prelim or no?
No.
No, okay. He was like, he was one of the first bouts on the main card then, and he had a sensational grounded knee knockout, which really, that got me to say, oh, this is the Prince of RIZIN right here. So, I mean, now he's like the next up-and-coming. And that's what they got to do. These prelim fighters, they want to get noticed. They want to get called up to the main card, put on a sensational performance to where they can't ignore you anymore.
Mm-hmm. And Kubrick is saying prelims have been going on since 2020. Hayasaka was on the prelims.
God, he looked good too, by the way. Can we just like give him some? I picked against him, and that was I will. Never again. No.
And maybe Hayasaka's going to be called up now. He got 2 finishes on the prelims. Maybe he gets called up for the next Sapporo show.
He's 40 though.
What happens.
He's 40, so I don't know. But.
Oh well, see, that's not.
He put on. I thought Suzuki was going to knock him out, right? Because Suzuki's been knocking out guys on, what was it, Grachin or Gladiator? Grachin. But yeah, that was a good performance by Segura there. I was impressed.
And knocking out opponents and But
yeah, his last one was who was it against? Against Kanamori. That one was brutal.
Mm-hmm. But still, though, long story short, when it comes down to this fight card, as we wrap things up here, what were some of your likes and dislikes? What was one thing you liked about RIZIN Landmark 11 and one thing that you hated? Aisha, you start first.
One thing I liked that the fights that I didn't think would be entertaining were some of the most entertaining. And what I didn't like was the freaking hour between the prelim and the main card.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I love this card. I love how it was, 19 bouts, and they kept the pacing lightning fast, fantastic. And yeah, the only thing I didn't like about it was the such a huge time gap in between the prelims and the main card. That's definitely something they gotta shore up for the next bout, or for the next card, I should say. And other than that, though, it was a great card. I mean, it just, like I said, I can't rave enough about Kolesnik and the superior rule set finish. Finally, thank goodness we got to see that. Hopefully that's just the start. And just, I mean, the heavyweight Grand Prix bout, saving the heavyweight Grand Prix bout, and and then Nazimov's KO the year candidate. I mean, just so much good stuff happened on this card. It was fantastic. And Kubrick's talking about the intermission should be embarrassed on it. That's exactly what happens, though, during intermission. Oh, he's talking about Barasan goes in there, makes the announcements, and then they start the intermission. But, lately, they've been doing shorter intermissions, it seems like. It seems like they've been counting the Barasan when he's been talking. And then they only have I think it was Korea, or was it Otoko Matsuri or something, where they only had like a 10-minute intermission. Where it was shocking that it was so short.
They did that in like a freaking little ballroom. I didn't realize how small that venue was.
Yeah, it looked like a typical Bellator event back in the day. Like the same size as the Pachanga Casino here that I go to all the time for Bellator shows. So they can fit around about 5,000 people in those.
It was visually, though, it was actually pretty cool for a small venue. And I'll say, because the last Black Combat show in Korea, they did it in a brick church, but they blacked out all the stained glass windows, and it was just like an eerie, again, Apex vibe because it was so small. But like for a one-off, it was actually a very, very cool show. Yeah,
I saw the highlight you sent me. It was great. Now, you know what it reminded me? I forgot to tell you because I haven't had time to really answer anything, but Invicta, they also fought in a church before, but they did not black out the stained glass windows, and it was fantastic to see. Actually,
the thing was that 120-year-old church was converted into a police athletic league boxing gym.
Oh, really cool.
Oh, nice. The Invicta one?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, but they kept the stained glass windows and everything like that, so it just was really a cool looking setting. So, but yeah, I mean, it was just. Man, I can't rave enough about this card, landmark card, just so great. Like, I'm so excited to see the superior rule set finish was just, man. I was so glad you called me.
The last thing I'll say, Jay, and Jay Christian, I'll let you guys, do your wrap up here as we're getting towards the end. I will say Super RIZIN 4 has some big shoes to fill with Super RIZIN 3, and one fight in particular, because boys, what was the best fight on Super RIZIN 3? What was the best fight of 2024?
For me,
off Super RIZIN 3, there's one right, there's only one answer, and it was Kuzi Nashizawa. There is big shoes to fill because that was the best fight of 2024, not just in RIZIN, in all of mixed martial arts, in every single promotion. In the 480 cards that I covered that year, that is the fight that I say hands down was the best fight of the year. So Super RIZIN 4 better have a fucking brawl like that if it wants to even come close, in my opinion.
I would just
Kuzi versus Catfish, baby. He knew it. I
agree with you off that card and say that Ren Hiramoto versus Mikuru Asakura.
That wasn't a fight. That was a knockout.
Oh.
Kuzi and Catfish was a 3-round fight. It was a war. We got 15 minutes of fucking brutal violence. that was one of my dude. I've been watching mixed martial arts since I can remember, since I was like 4 or 5 years old.
Wow,
that is the best fight I have ever seen.
Nice.
agreed.
Not technically, but like, dude, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Like it was two guys. It was so Japanese MMA. It was kickboxing crossovers. One was like 1-2, one was 2-1 or whatever it was. They didn't care about the record. They didn't care about grappling. They just went in there like they were outside of a bar and someone took his wallet or slept with his wife, and they just fucking threw down, and it was awesome. So Super RIZIN 4, you have big shoes to fill with these MMA fighters, but who put on absolute brawls, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow. Yeah, and I think they will. And just to follow up on the comments earlier too about what we're talking about, it's going to be hopefully 20 bouts. So there's going to be some bangers in there, 100%. And don't even worry about the as we saw a Landmark here, their pacing is lightning fast. And they don't do it like the UFC or PFL, where PFL is probably the worst of it, where they'll get like a KO, or even when the fight goes a distance, there's like a 20-minute intermission in between fights. You know, there is no way that the Epic RIZIN is lightning fast pacing in comparison. So, you know, that's not a problem. So we're going to have hopefully a 20-fight card for Super RIZIN 4, and hopefully there's going to be a fight or two that lives up to Aisha's expectations to one up Super RIZIN 3. And, you know, we also got, remember, just on this year, we had some Fight of the Year candidates already. You know, with Doubtbeck was in one of them. And then we just had a KO of the Year candidate with Nazimov. So we're going to get, dude, the momentum is clearly flowing. And we got a superior rule set knockout finally. Dude, the momentum is clearly there on the Epic RIZIN side. So I cannot wait for Super RIZIN 4. Cubic, go. Wait, dude. What kind of a comment is that, buddy? Come on, brother.
But just decided to prop it up there. But still, though, point of the matter is we are done talking about RIZIN Landmark 11. The next event we are going to talk about is Super RIZIN 4. Hopefully we can all be available to join in on that one. Either that or we're going to have a replacement for one of y'all. But still, though, before we move on, you know, I just got to say thank y'all for joining me. Thank you, the fans, for checking this shit out. You know, if you want to know more about what we have in store, you can check out the description of this podcast episode, the description of the video feed, which, of course, I will do in post. And, Jay, do you want to go ahead and... Well, actually, no. Aisha, since you're the guest here, do you want to go ahead and put yourself over?
Yeah, guys, check out my channel, The City Life Project. We stream up to a minimum of 20 to 30 hours, minimum, of mixed martial arts or combat sports every single week. We do Ultimate Fighter watch parties, Dana White Contender Series watch parties. I'm on your guys' show right now, but we'll continue to cover that new promotion, Ice Wars, even though BKFC can get fucked. Yeah, man, I love mixed martial arts. I love combat sports. Every weekend I'm streaming, usually like Friday nights to Sunday, I'm streaming. The odd Thursday, if there's PFL or Invicta or if Fury does a show on Thursday, then I'll cover that as well. But like, yeah, usually Thursday to Sunday, all day, every day, all night with Deep and Black Combat and Pancreas Blood and all these other shows overseas that I'm covering. I'm literally streaming not 24 hours, but shoot, man, like 15 to 18 hours of the day every weekend covering the sport. So it doesn't matter the promotion. We're covering it. Yeah, man. And KSW's card last weekend was awesome. Highly recommend you guys go check that out. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh yeah, I interviewed my friend Alvin. You are far too kind. Alvin Guzihine, he's my friend from Minnesota. He's 7-0, and he just got signed to the UFC to replace Justin Tafa on UFC 317. He's fighting Jonata Deniz, and he's going to take Deniz down and beat the fuck out of him on the ground. No, he's here to save the heavyweight division. Let's fucking go. So I interviewed him. Go check it out.
I see. And when are you going to put over... when are you going to do your own streaming network? Because with that many hours of putting over coverage of combat sports, You gotta have your own television network to do that,
bro. If I can get a real sponsor, then I'll honestly I'll just hire a crew and we can all just dominate. I can cover the Asian scene. We can get North Americans covering the North American scene. We can get the caucus folk covering all like the Alash Pride. That's the goal. Is like if we can grow this channel where we have like a few different faces who cover like 8 to 20 cards in every region. That way we can, because there's so much overlap. We're like Octagon, KSW, Glory, Eris, 971, and War, which is a Spain promotion. They were all Spanish promotion. They were all on the exact same time last week.
Wow.
And I watched KSW, but I still have FOMO and I haven't caught up on all of them yet. I still have 2 more cards to catch up on, right? So like I can't be in multiple places at once. I can't have multiple screens because I read chat and I talk about one fight. So it ideally, if we could grow, City Life or whatever it becomes to a point where like every MMA card at every time, every day is being covered on the channel. That's the goal. Is that like there will never be time where the channel's not streaming because there'll be mixed martial arts all the time. So that's the goal. I am but one man. I try to cover as much as I can on the weekends.
Understood. And I mean, come to think of it, it shows you how crazy fight sports have been over the last 20 years. I mean, 20 years ago, everybody used to be caring about one fight or just basically, wonder when this show was going to come on or when that show was going to come on or what language was it going to be in. Now, everything's pretty much universal. And, speaking of Jay Wolf, how can people get in contact with you?
Oh, I'm on Twitter at JAYYOLF1. Yes, it's misspelled on purpose. That's because that was what it was way back when I first started commenting in like 05 or 06, whatever it was.
Dude, don't change it. Don't change it.
Really? Okay.
No. Stay true to the hockey, or I was gonna say hockey forums, because like my old username is from hockey forums. So keep your username. Keep your username.
Well, that's how people know it's me.
Exactly.
Nobody else has it misspelled like that.
Dude, I've been VI Sports Talk since I was 11.
Nice.
Aww.
That's awesome.
That's my Twitter handle, yeah.
Yeah, so you guys can follow me there. Follow, like the banner says, follow me on also in the RIZIN FF fans Discord. It's a lot of fun in there. That's where I spend most of my time actually, because it's not public and it's just so much fun. You can troll, you can talk trash. We watch the fights together. Everything's so the only 2 rules we have is no illegal links, no illegal streams, and no racism. Everything else goes. You can talk trash, anything, whatever you want. It's so much fun. And on Twitter, if you follow me and you're a real person, I follow back 100%. And also, right here at the Focus Fights channel, and also on Aisha's channel, the City Life Project, we do all the Epic RIZIN prelims, all the Epic RIZIN previews, and it's just so much fun. And we have it with all the betting odds, everything. It's just Aisha does such a fantastic job. He has clips of the fighters. Just I can't.
And it'll be out a week ahead of time. Next
yeah, we'll do it a week ahead of time next time. For
no more last minute edits, or else Isha doesn't get them out in time.
And Kubrick, for kickboxing, actually, Aisha, do you still do the podcast with Rush Hour? Podcast?
It's on the shelf right now. It's on the shelf. But Rush Hour Fight Club, he crushes it with the kickboxing coverage.
Yeah, he's fantastic kickboxing coverage. So follow him as well too.
Yes,
and
because
also,
I do Kubrick.
Yes, so. Kubrick. Yes, you can. If you join the RIZIN FF fans Discord,
Billy ain't in the Discord. He ain't gonna see.
Yes.
Billy was used to be in my chats, eh? Like whenever one of his fighters are fighting, he'd hang out in my live streams, but he saw me ripping on Hiroyo on Twitter and he unfollowed me.
That's great. What a great story. Oh shoot. Bring a Billy Bigelow or they call him in Discord Billy Bozo.
I like Billy. I like him, but like, bro.
Me too. It's just people. I guess because he's not. You're not the only one that he unfollowed. I guess he blocked some fans that are in Discord, so they started hating on him, calling him Billy Bozo and stuff. It's just funny. It's hilarious. But yeah, he was a trainer. That we're talking about. Billy Bigelow was a trainer that was in Japan.
JTT like wrestling coach. He's now, and he's been training Marab recently too, which is, I mean.
Yeah. So he's cool guy. So don't want to rip on him too much, but yeah. And then also the We Are RIZIN podcast as well. And that where all of us are affiliated with the Real Rising podcast as well. We go on the show sometimes. And who else? Who else I want to give a shout out to? Oh, Aisha. We're talking about maybe link up with the Combat Sports Today News fam.
Yes.
And maybe that they could help you out with doing the international live streams and stuff, so you can focus on the Asian scene. So maybe,
like I said, as soon as I can pay people, then we'll talk. Money talks,
nice.
Right?
Absolutely.
I don't expect anybody to cover 30 hours of mixed martial arts a week for free. So I'm not even going to ask until I can actually back it up with some payment. So hopefully we get a sponsor soon. We'll see. The channel's growing. I mean, I'm still but a speck of dust in the YouTube verse. So like once maybe when we get to 100,000 subscribers someday, we'll cross that bridge. For now, I'm just an MMA fan who loves, or I'm a combat sports fan who loves fighting, and I love watching it. I love talking about it. I love hanging out with you guys.
Oh, you're the best, Aisha.
Well, that is cool, man. And you know what? Shout out to Daniel Dzubecki as well.
Yeah. And all the other commenters and Kubrick and all of them that were watching the show with us. Even you, RIZIN, will thrive. Yes, even you. So it was just a great show. And that's in it right here, you guys.
Thanks for having me on, guys. This is a lot of fun. Both I could yap about any combat sport because I can pull threads from anywhere. But B, RIZIN is my favorite organization. Japanese MMA is real MMA. It's not watering down the sport. Though they make weird matchup at times, they don't hate their fans. The UFC hates their fans. North America has the softest commissions on the planet. So you better believe that if there's a chance to yap about RIZIN, if I'm free, boys, I'm here anytime.
Absolutely. Oh, it was great having you.
It's pretty obvious. Whenever the state athletic commissions fuck things up, just know that RIZIN has everything to make you get crunked up. So
yeah, and Aisha calls him out on it every single time too. I love it. I love seeing that. Aisha's
Paul
great.
Craig should have a win right now, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
That was the most beautiful part of that card. Was the little up kick action, baby. Let's go.
But I guess that now leaves me. And, I thank the both of you for joining us. I thank all of you who commented and checked this whole damn show out for the 2.5 hours we've been on. And like I said, when it comes down to the podcast, please subscribe, rate, and review, and share the hell out of this, because if we want to make more, if we can make more, then y'all got to help us grow. Plain and simple. And oh, by the way, I got an interview coming up I got an interview that should be dropping within the next few days. Or if you're listening to it on the audio, you don't have to wait long, because it will be, you probably might have already heard it by now before this damn review began. Well, actually, no, let me rephrase that. If you're listening to it on the audio, it'll probably come out a little bit after this review. But I did an interview with recent RIZIN prelim fighter Stefan Smash Coignon. He's the teammate of Hotaka Arato, and he's going to be fighting in Deep coming up soon against the fighter he was supposed to face off in RIZIN last fall, Masashi Inada. So,
nice.
Dude, I'll be watching that. I never miss a Deep card, so I'll definitely be live watching that.
Yeah, but
I'll be cheering them on.
Yeah, but be on the listen for that interview, because that is, it was a short, sweet, to the point interview because of the language barrier and the time difference. But still, though, it was fun to chat with him, just like it's been fun to chat with y'all too. But
that Deep card's insane, by the way. So everyone go check it out. Amazing card. 14 fights too. Let's go.
Yeah. And Kubrick is also saying there should be a Deep podcast. I highly doubt that would happen. But
do we lose?
Jay Wolf and me talk for like 2 hours on City Life. I feel like that's the City Life podcast. the City Life RIZIN podcast.
Yeah, of course. Going in deep.
Balls deep and deep, baby.
Yes.
But as I look at my clock, it's about that time.
It's dinner time, boys.
Yeah. So for Jay, for Aisha, I have been the Chillmeister J. Christian Gary, saying peace, my peoples, in one love world. Protect yourself at all times. Keep fighting, because You never know who might hear your story.
Superior rule set. Let's go.
Support Black culture because Juneteenth is tomorrow as we are listening to this podcast right now, or as we're doing this right now. And as we say every time we do a show like, oh my God, Kubrick, stop it, man. We got to get you on a show one day. But still, though, as we say well, first of all, as Lenny Hart always says, God damn it. I'm sorry.
What happened?
I'm sorry. My damn sound kind of fucked up.
Oh.
But still, though, point of the matter is like, as Lenny Hart always says, and as you say, Jay,
Almighty Pride FC never die. Pride has risen. And we out. Peace.
and that's it. We'll hope to see y'all next time.